said in recent days they would not completely give up their nuclear aspirations. Latest look at the U.S. employment picture shows little change from month to month as we hear from ABC's Jim Ryan telling us about this latest JOLTS report.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics Job Openings and Labor Turnover Survey was delayed by a month and found openings at 6.9 million in March, essentially unchanged from February. The number of hires picked up slightly with gains in the transportation, warehousing, and utility sectors. As for quits, about 5.5 million people left their jobs last month.
Some state regulators putting pressure on AI companies to better regulate their chatbots. Pennsylvania applied some of that pressure in a new lawsuit.
A Pennsylvania licensing worker searched psychiatry on Character AI and found a character describing itself as a doctor of psychiatry licensed in Pennsylvania. That's a claim in a lawsuit Pennsylvania filed against Character Technologies, saying the company's chatbots are illegally holding themselves out as doctors and deceiving users. Character AI did not comment on the suit, but says it prioritizes responsibility and user well-being.
That's Brian Clark reporting. And the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. We've got complete stop-and-go brake tapping northbound 65 up to the South Loop, eastbound South Loop over to 65, and then northbound North Loop due to a crash right there at Rosa Parks Boulevard. Got an injury crash 40 westbound near Fessler's Lane, and then an injury crash Murfreesboro Pike near Foster Avenue. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. Welcome, one and all. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day. Happy to have you with us this Tuesday, May 5. Yes, it's Cinco de Mayo in the year of our Lord, 2026. We've got a big show on tap, and I hope you're here for every single moment of it. Every single second of the Matt Murphy Show today is guaranteed to be full of excitement, fun, information, frivolity, education, and all of those other things. well, maybe not this part, but every other part from now until the end of the show at 7 o'clock, we hope to be pretty good. Thank you for being with us. In all sincerity, we do appreciate all of you, whether you're here from the beginning. We're on episode 1030, so if you're here from the beginning, you've been with us for a while, a little over 4.5 years or thereabouts, 4.5 years. Or maybe this is your first opportunity to check in with the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Either way, we thank you. We appreciate it. We hope that you enjoy what we do, or at very least, it provokes a thought or two and maybe a conversation within your circle of friends, your family, your coworkers, and whatnot. You can find us on a variety of platforms. Let's talk about those before we introduce the players of this show that you'll hear from time to time over the course of the next 4 hours. You can find us on the good old radio dial, the OG, 99.7 FM. That would be from Alabama to Kentucky and all points in between. You can also find us on a variety of streaming platforms. These are your quote-unquote apps where you take us wherever you go on your smartphone, laptop, etc. We have our own. You can type in Supertalk 99.7 WTN, take us wherever you'd like to go. We're also on like Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart. Those are just 3 of the many where you will find us. And then, of course, there's Talk TV. For you masochists in the listening audience that want to watch what we do, by all means. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. A crazy cadre of individuals resides over there on the YouTube chat, and I don't vouch for them, but they're pretty. It's pretty entertaining over there in and of itself. By the way, we're going to need the YouTube chat. I guess not today. I got too excited. I got ahead of myself. Not today.
An announcement for the chat today.
Yeah, we do have an announcement for the YouTube chat regarding the Matt Murphy Movie Mayhem segment that we have. Jackson was inspired to recreate the segment, and I think I like what he's doing with it. So we've got that big announcement coming up at 6:35 this
I like
afternoon.
new announcements.
Oh, do you?
That's fun.
Oh, yeah, because you typically we ask the Jackson's horn guy, the fella that he employs to follow him around and play that horn. We ask him because Jackson's paying him anyway to give us the old horn. Give it to us.
Yeah.
No, Hand stole it. We're on day 2 without the trophy. But I'm sure you know that. Because this is a crisscross.
That's the voice of what is it?
It's a crisscross. Chris has crossed us. Except you, because you are the mastermind behind this.
Ken?
Yes, sir.
I would like for Jackson Williams to tell you what he accused Chris Hand and I of in the office right before the show. Would you care to share with Ken Weaver the way that you characterized what you claim is going on with the trophy and nincompoops in the news?
You see, Ken, you know where the trophy resides currently, right?
Yes, sir.
Rutherford County.
Yes, sir.
You know where Matt's going to be Friday?
Rutherford. Yeah, he's going to be down there on Friday.
Ken, you're not going with him, are you?
No, sir.
He's not.
I'm not going to be in town either.
Uh-huh. I don't.
And so this crisscross, this inside job.
That's not Ken. He looks at me dead in the eye. See, you're afraid to say it. You looked me dead in the eye and you said, this is obviously a Murphy hand, an inside Murphy hand job, is what you said.
Some would call it that.
You said it was an inside Murphy hand job, and I was like, what?
Heard it as soon as I said it, Ken. Heard it as soon as I said it.
I was half listening. I'm like, what? What are you? I think we might want to say that a different way.
That's quite the play on words.
I deny every bit of it. I have nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
All I know
is Chris Hand has our trophy, and I don't know why he still's got the trophy. I don't know why the trophy's not here.
He's just holding it for Matt. It's going to be at the Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply on Friday. I guarantee it.
3 to 7 o'clock. Join us, Murfreesboro, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And oh, by the way, maybe the trophy will be there. Maybe it will not. I know this. Matt Murphy won yesterday.
No,
That's
he
way
didn't.
to go, Brother Murphy.
Did you count the votes?
You didn't count the votes either.
I went back and looked
When?
earlier today.
That's a lie because
Moments
10 minutes ago you
Moments
didn't know.
ago, earlier today,
Ken,
seconds ago.
Ken,
I took
he's
a look.
learned some tricks from Hand on how to rig the vote in his favor.
There's no rigging.
It's how we ended up with this crisscross job in the first place.
This, he says, Murphy. Like, what?
It was in that good old Jackson accent.
We should have sent Jackson down to the Capitol today.
Yes, sir.
It really was a missed opportunity, in my opinion, because there were some characters down there. You could have gotten some good video from down at the Capitol. Apparently, liberals are very upset about what democracy looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's no longer this is what democracy looks like. It is this ain't what democracy looks like.
This ain't what democracy looks like. This ain't what democracy looks like. This ain't what democracy looks like. I was told that there'd be fried chicken.
Steve Cohen was there. This is the reason I bring up the fried chicken, and he did not bring it with him. Apparently, Cohen is not very pleased with the manner in which things have gone. But Steve Cohen is just is there any other perfect characterization of what the Tennessee 9th District is, according to every Democrat that you would hear? This is the definition of racism, according to Democrats, that we're trying to wrest control of the 9th Congressional District, legally, I would mind you, from the likes of Steve Cohen, who clearly is the personification of the average 9th District voter, an old white dude in Memphis, Tennessee. Friends, the very thing that the Supreme Court decided in the case involving Louisiana, the very thing they decided was that we have grown beyond the concept of racial quotas and specific racial preferences when making political decisions about drawing party line districts, congressional districts, etc., that you're not permitted to use the race, the color of one's skin, or any other condition of one's birth or protected class to use that as an advantage to draw congressional lines for your own political partisanship. You're not allowed to do it. Louisiana's not allowed to do it. Tennessee's not allowed to do it. Now, would we not suggest that Memphis was drawn in the way that Memphis was drawn, specific to create a Democrat district? Now, I understand that circumstances around the rest of the state have changed between the time that Memphis was drawn and today. But I don't believe that there's any one of us that would suggest that this was not drawn for a particular purpose. And it was wrong. It's wrong to box black voters into one specific congressional district because of the color of their skin, just as it is wrong to diminish the voices and the votes of other people, Republicans, conservatives, white people. I mean, if we want to have this discussion about racial politics, then we need to have the full discussion about racial politics. And if you draw congressional districts in the manner that Democrats wish to benefit one race of people, you are hurting another. And for far too long, particularly in the South, I watched it happen in Alabama for years. They configured these congressional districts specifically to get a majority district so as to please the courts, and the courts went along with it, unconstitutionally went along with it for far too long. And now finally a court has said we should not be doing this any longer. Maybe there was a time, and I would grant you that there was certainly a time when you had to correct an error that went on too long in terms of denying individuals the ability to vote based on the color of their skin. And obviously that was happening, and it was specifically happening more so in the South than any other part of the country. And we needed to correct that error, but the error has been corrected, and now you are not denied the ability to vote based on the color of your skin. I would challenge any one of you that are here for this dog and pony show happening outside of the Capitol today. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, call me and tell me about who's being disenfranchised with this decision to redraw congressional district lines. You vote not as a block. You vote not as a collective. I understand that Democrats think of the collective. They think of the socialism that they desire to come to this country so desperately. But we remain a nation of individuals, and you vote individually. And any suggestion otherwise is wrong. And so, to advance the cause of one group of people when you're drawing these lines based on protected class status is to deny others of their votes. If I am to use your logic against you. Does that make sense to everyone? You can't have it both ways. You can't, and don't tell me that it's because of the sins of the forefathers in the past. At some point, we have to move on from that and become that society that all of us claimed at least 30, 40 years ago that we wanted to become. That society that did not judge based on the color of one's skin, that judged based on the content of one's character. You can get frustrated with the fact that this is happening. And oh, by the way, I would remind you, for all of you yelling at me yesterday, I said last week, I don't know that this is going to end the way that lawmakers want it to end. I am not so certain that lawmakers have the ability to do what they want to do, because they have the ability to gerrymander based on politics, which is what the courts said so plainly last week. What you cannot do is gerrymander based on race. Politics and race, political party affiliation and race are two very different things, no matter how much the Democrats want to make them the same. I am here for the discussion. I'm here for the conversation. So's Steve Cohen. If Steve's listening to the show, you're welcome to come on over, Steve. We'd love to talk with you. 615-737-9986. You can call us up, or you can stop by the studio. I understand that you're in town. The special session has convened. We'll tell you exactly what they are to decide. They have to repeal a law, which, once again, I'm not suggesting to you that all of this is going to end well. Here's what I would suggest to you, that the Tennessee Republican Party did not start this. The Republican Party did not start this. The Democrats started this. And they started it a long time ago. And they have enjoyed the benefit of redistricting at their pleasure for the purpose of benefiting themselves and benefiting the Democratic Party. And they have not been challenged on it for a long time. And now they are. And now the Republicans are fighting fire with fire. Now, I can understand the argument that you should not lower yourself to fight along these lines, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Well, I mean, that's all well and good. They have to repeal, I believe it's a law from 1970 that was passed that denies the General Assembly an opportunity to redistrict during, in the midst of a cycle prior to a new census. They're planning on repealing that law, it's my understanding. I'll tell you exactly what they're doing. Take your telephone calls as well, 615-737-9986. We mentioned that it's Cinco de Mayo. It's also voting day in the state of Tennessee. I do not know why. Can someone explain to me, maybe Jack Johnson, he's going to stop by after the session concludes, sometime we hope in the 4 o'clock hour. Can someone explain to me why we vote local elections differently than congressional elections and some of the statewide contests? I'm a little confused. I feel like it depresses local turnout. And I don't understand why we would want to depress local turnout. I feel as if, and I don't care when it is. I don't care if you hold all of them today or all of them in August or split the difference and have them somewhere at the end of June. Why don't we do these together? Am I missing something? Am I missing the point of splitting the primary votes? You have primary, and general election, and I guess the local general election happens on primary day in August, and then you have the general election from the August primary happening in November, and none of that makes sense to me. Why wouldn't you want to consolidate those? There was a bill in the halls of the General Assembly this session that would have consolidated them, and it got killed. And I'm wondering why. Why is Murray County voting today? Why are the local counties voting today, and we're not voting on congressional races in the primaries? Why wouldn't we want to combine those? I mean, I asked the question. The question could be obvious, and I'm just missing it. 615-737-9986. Your telephone calls, as always. Young Jackson Williams behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speaker sounds as good as possible. Ken Weaver's back in News Closet B, gathers headlines for a living, delivers them twice an hour, and when it breaks.
How about you, boys?
Hello, Ken. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Primary election day in Tennessee, and state lawmakers back at the State House to redraw congressional districts. And you got to hear how House Majority Leader William Lamberth deals with an audience member who apparently doesn't like him very much. That's coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy, Ken Weaver, Jackson Williams, and you. Would love to hear from you. 615-737-9986. So I did not vote today. I don't. So now I'm getting confused because I look on the Secretary of State's website.
Yes, sir.
And if you go to the Secretary of State's website, sos.tn.gov, it says it's election day. Click here for more information about primary elections being held in the yellow highlighted counties. And Murray County is not highlighted yellow. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 counties in the state of Tennessee that don't have yellow highlights on them. The rest of them do. And so now my question is Murray County not having a primary today? Say, I'm additionally confused. I did not vote today for two reasons. Number one, these are local elections, and I just moved into the community, and I feel an obligation to be as well-informed as possible to go to the polls and vote. Number two, and more importantly, I went and got my license changed 3 weeks ago, and I changed my voting registration then, and I've gotten my voter registration card back, but I don't know that means – I think I missed the deadline for – I guess – I didn't miss the deadline for moving registration. I would have missed the deadline for registering. Generally speaking, I was registered in Wilson County. So I don't know why Murray County would be excluded, but on the map it is. It says voting is happening for those counties in yellow. But it doesn't really tell you why some counties are voting or most counties are voting and some counties are not, apparently. Ken Weaver, any information on this?
I'm looking it up right now, Brother Murphy.
I mean, I'm a little confused. And then you click on the map and it says, oh, well, just go to your search by voter address. Well, if I search by voter address, it tells me where to vote, but it doesn't tell me why my county is in.
Yeah, I just clicked on Murray County and there's nothing. I'm going to click on Hickman County.
All right.
Nothing on there either.
Yeah, see, that's.
What's going on? What?
But you see the map I'm talking about in all yellow?
Yes.
I mean, well, mostly yellow, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 counties where they aren't yellow, and it says it's election day. Click here for more information about primary elections being held in the yellow highlighted counties.
Yeah, let's try Bedford County here. I'm not seeing anything. Maybe I'm not looking at it right.
Maybe I'm not looking at it right either. Everyone's confused. No wonder there's low voter turnout. I'm confused. You're confused.
Maybe we ought to get
confused.
Mr. Hargett on.
Man, you know what? It's probably a good idea, Ken. I'm going to work on that while you deliver the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is 3:30. Thank you for being with us on the very confused Matt Murphy Show.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Got some rain moving through the area. Still on the lookout for what could be some strong to severe storms. Very low level risk. Today's primary election day in Tennessee for races including mayor, judges, and commissioners. Voters encouraged to confirm their polling location before heading out. Tennessee lawmakers back in Nashville for a special session focused on congressional redistricting. Hours before it started, Channel 4 says a committee met to set the rules. This is House Majority Leader William Lamberth as audience members got mad at him. Then after Lamberth, you're going to hear Justin Jones call Lamberth and other Republicans racist.
You may hold up any signs you want. You may hold up your phones. You can do anything you want to, as long as it is quietly. You may flip me a bird, ma'am. I saw that. Yes, ma'am. You may do that. I don't care. Okay?
Representative Lambert said this is, reprimanding the audience. This is not a sports game, but they're treating this like a game where black people's political power is expendable. He's told the audience, please be respectful to him, yet he's not respecting the black Tennesseans who live in this state.
So Republicans, they want to turn the 9th Congressional District, which covers Memphis, red. Democrats are going to try to reunify Davidson County into one district. Here in Nashville, Mayor Freddie O'Connell says he's going to run for re-election and focus on affordability in a second term. Operation Epic Fury, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says Project Freedom, the effort to ensure safe passage of commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz, is underway as oil and gas prices soar.
CENTCOM, along with partner nations, is in active communication with hundreds of ships, shipping companies, and insurers. All of these ships from all around the world want to get out of the Iranian trap that they have been stuck inside.
Gas Buddy putting the average price per gallon in Middle Tennessee at $3.21 today. That's up 24 cents since last week. And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we've got a crash 65 northbound before I-440. Then in Cheatham County, Kingston Springs, debris in the left lane. 40 westbound at Kingston Springs, Ashland City, exit 188. Full stop and go eastbound 440 over to 24 between 65 and 24. And then north and southbound 65 there around 440. Also between the South Loop and 440. I'm Ken Weaver.
Yeah, we live in a crazy world, friends, and you need some sanity in your life. And if you work in a business where there's a lot of people in and out, there's a lot of flow of traffic, or perhaps you're just looking to protect your employees or the people that come into your business or come into your school or come into your church. If you work where people gather, I encourage you to call Brink Fiddler and Defend Systems. Defend Systems is a life safety and security consultation firm, and they're based right here in Middle Tennessee. They help the schools, they help the churches, and they help your business, all manner of businesses. Their training and knowledge informs, provides, and creates systems that work for you. In other words, it is about empowering your workforce to understand what to do in the unlikely event that you have a workplace violence situation, you have a shooter situation, you have some sort of other medical emergency. Emergency and intruder action plans are available, rapid response medical training available for all of you and your staff. That's what it's all about, friends. It's about protecting you and making sure that you have the tools available to you to know how to react in the unlikely event that something should happen. They're not here to scare you, but the fact of the matter is hope is not a plan. It is time to get trained with Defend Systems. Call today at 615-236-6484, 236-6484, or online at defendsystems.com. All right, I have a little additional information on our question right before the bottom of the hour newscast. It is 3:37, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you'd like to be a part of the show, you're always invited. Agree or disagree. Disagreement always goes to the front of the line on the Matt Murphy Show, has for 26 years. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. If you'd like to get involved in the show, it's my favorite thing to do is engage with the callers. You can also engage with us on the Super Text line, exact same telephone number, 615-737-9986. Kathy writes in and says, Matt, I just heard Ken say that Mayor Freddie's going to focus on affordability in his next term. He might find that difficult because he'll inherit a huge mess from his predecessor. That's very funny. It's very funny. I'm going to do that again. Matt, I just heard Ken say that Mayor Freddie's going to focus on affordability in his next term. He might find that difficult because he's inheriting a huge mess from his predecessor. You get it? Because, yeah. Here's the deal. I don't want to hear a word about affordability from Freddie O'Connell when Freddie O'Connell has made this city decidedly less affordable. If you really cared about affordability, you would swallow your pride, admit that you went too far in property tax increases, some of which went over 300% of previous rates, and admit that that is hurting small businesses, it's hurting big businesses, and it's hurting households, most importantly, and roll it back. Instead, you're doing these stupid grants, making us more dependent. We don't want to be dependent on government. Business doesn't want to have to beg. This is what government does, and it sickens me. I don't want to put my rant pants on quite yet. This is what they do. They make it impossible for businesses and they make it impossible for residents to stay here without having to, make decisions about gas money or food money or property tax increases. They make it impossible for local businesses to stay in business. These are employers. These are monetary generators in our community that are going out of business because of the government. And the answer, the government started this. The government caused the problem. During the Cooper administration, when they went up on property taxes during COVID, and now during the O'Connell administration, when they went up on property taxes during his first term again. And in most cases, they went up over 60% combined. In some cases, for businesses, they've gone up over 300% during that period in time. And instead of government recognizing that they went too far and they're harming the goose that lays the golden eggs in the city, they come up with yet another government program. That's what happens. The government caused the problem. Instead of just leaving the room, accepting that they created this problem, admitting it, and eliminating the problem that they created, they create another layer of bureaucracy, another government program. So now these businesses that simply want to be left alone have to go back to government, the government that just bent them over and screwed them. They have to go back to that government and beg the government for money in the form of a grant. You see what I'm talking about? Is this making sense? Hello? Any of you liberals listening? Is it making sense to you? Businesses that just want the government to leave them alone now have to file all of this paperwork and go on bended knee and beg the government for grant money just to stay in business, a business that was operating just fine before the government screwed them. And what Freddie wants is a pat on the back and congratulate. Oh, thank you, Freddie. Thank you for the grant. Thank you for helping keeping our business afloat. It's like a firefighter deciding to start a fire at your house, and then he comes to your house and puts the fire out after half of your home has burned to the ground, and then expects you to thank him for doing so. MC is next. Actually, MC is first up on this edition of the Matt Murphy Show. Hello, MC. I hope you're well.
I'm doing well, Murph, if I may call you that. I don't know if you've got your Patrick Henry clothes on. Well, what a speech you just gave.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I don't know if Trey Hargett's office gave you some insight. I can tell you this. I held an elective office that was elected in the general election of August 2nd. I ran twice, lost one, won one, the other way around though. But I think that the general elections are held in local general elections are held in August because we take office September 1st. And I like that because it doesn't give the lame duck enough time to steal everything before he leaves office, theoretically. And the other thing is that the counties that aren't having elections today, I'll speculate on this, and I swear the Secretary of State can tell you better, but they either have open general elections in August or they have caucuses.
Yeah.
And they can have both, where you have an open general election in August, but the Democrats or whatever party you want to say, they meet together and they put forward their candidate, give them their stamp of approval. Now, anybody can run that can qualify in the general election, the local general election. Now, one last thing. Metro is messed up because of the charter coming in 63. So the legislative and the vice mayor and the mayor are elected on odd years, as you know, and the clerks and all that are still elected at the time of the county elections. I know it is confusing, and I will say this: I used to be a big proponent of, let the counties do it the way they want to or whatever. But I have spoken, you and myself, and a friend of mine who lives in Chattanooga, who is a very well-educated person who was educated in Alabama, and his parents were part of UGA. He didn't vote today either. I mean, just a lot of people didn't vote. And I'm the same reason that you're not voting. I'd moved from someplace west of here, which I won't name, and I'm now in Hickman County, which I'm proud of. And we didn't have election anyway today, but we will elect if anybody's opposed. But Dixon had a big election today, or they're having it, because their mayor's been out. He's been in office for 16 years, so they're having a Republican primary, a Democrat primary, and then we'll have independents in August. But anyway, the September 1st swearing in, I believe, is the reason why the general election's in August. And I was sworn in on September 1st, and I proudly served for 4 years, and then was beaten by 21 votes by somebody who didn't know what they were doing.
Are all the swearing-ins for local officials, to your knowledge, MC, are they uniform across the state, or do they vary?
I do not know because, here's the thing. Alabama, which I know more about in some ways because I was a lawyer down there, you can get special acts done. And but you're usually correct about everything, and if you're not, you go find out. That's what I like about it.
I want to find out. Now, it makes sense. What you said makes sense, that some of these communities might have decided to do caucuses. And I vaguely remember someone telling me that Murray County decided to do caucuses, but I vaguely remember that. So I don't
remember
know.
The primaries generally belong to the parties in a way. And
that's right.
And the general elections belong to the people, the government. I mean, not the government, but the people. So with that, I'll sign off and pray for good weather tonight.
Well, of course, we do pray for good weather this evening. I'm not, Ken, I'm not missing something. We're not supposed to get really anything that significant, right?
We're on the very low level risk for severe weather.
Okay.
We can't rule it out, but we're very low on the risk scale.
Very good. So that's rain, though, coming through. And
definitely going to get some rain, and you could hear some thunder, but as far as anything going severe, it's a level 1 out of 5 risk, and it's all west of 65.
Okay. Well, I mean, I certainly hope for the rain because obviously we need it. I need enough rain for the state of Tennessee to stop their stupid burn ban so I can crank up my burn pile in my backyard.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Little bonfire, little burn pile, little beer, little pyro action.
Yeah,
Ken
make
Weaver
some
back
s'mores.
there. Oh yeah, Ken, you'll be back there, Ken.
Ooh, I'll be making s'mores.
You'll be on a s'more detail.
And then I'm gonna light my cigar in the fire.
Well, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. You'll light that goatee on fire, Ken. You better watch out.
That'd be something, wouldn't it?
Hey, Jackson, you know why they call them s'mores?
Because you want some more?
Because you want some more.
Way to go, Brother Jackson.
That's all right. You have one, you want some more. That's exactly right. Y'all come here for the jokes, don't you?
I figured out
Friday.
I figured out a new recipe, boys, for s'mores.
What's that?
And I cannot believe I haven't thought of it until now.
All right.
instead of just using, the Hershey's chocolate bar, next time I do it, I'm going to use Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh, wow.
Y'all haven't done that?
I have not done that, and I cannot believe I have not.
It's tasty.
I'm not a big s'more guy.
Well, they're messy.
Well, they're messy, but that's the only way that they're good. I get impatient, Ken, and I don't let my chocolate and my marshmallow melt properly.
Oh, you got to do that, brother.
And so now I'm eating raw s'mores.
Yeah.
That's no good.
That's no good. That defeats the purpose of the fire.
Agreed. I'm more of a let y'all do all of that, and I'll just drink my whiskey over here.
You boys make me some s'mores.
Hey, y'all make yourselves some s'mores and pour me some more of that JD, would you? Thank you. That Gentleman Jack isn't going to refill itself, fellas. Let's go. Stoke that fire while you're standing up, too, would you? 615-737-9986. Chris says the burn ban is over in Warren County. No, I heard there was a statewide ban on it, is what I heard. Now,
well, I got to look that up.
Look it up for me, Ken. Just, fact check me on these things. I'm just full of no information today. I am full of no information today, to include why certain counties. I'm going to assume that the audience, y'all are the smartest listening audience on planet Earth. I'm going to assume y'all are correct. It makes perfect sense that some of these local communities would be under a caucus system, and some of them have decided to go ahead and switch their primary election day to coincide with the primary elections happening in August anyway. It's my understanding that some are doing that. I would have it where everybody's on the same uniform day. Now, MC brings up the excellent point that they're trying to coincide that with when they take office. Well, you could just move that back a month or move the elections up a little bit. I mean, I understand you need those November election cycles, but just move when you swear them in, change that. Why wouldn't you change that? Once again, y'all are offering me county bans. I'm not telling you that there's any county ban on burning.
There are some.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure that there are some.
It's not statewide.
So there's not a statewide ban?
There's not a statewide ban. In fact, Brother Murphy, I'm looking here, and my co-pilot says there is no burn ban in effect for Murray County at this time.
Oh, right. Well, there you go. Now, well, that gives me a lot of hope.
I'd still check with your local officials.
Well, I told you I called, and I had just moved in, and we were, getting, piles of brush and whatnot. We're cleaning up the property, and I asked, I said, do I need a burn permit?
Oh, yeah.
And she said, no, sweetie, just don't burn anything when the wind's blowing. I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to love this community. So I will choose a day when the wind's not blowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a little tough in Middle Tennessee because it seems like the wind's always blowing.
Well, especially this time of year.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look, 4579 says, I had a bonfire in Robertson County last night.
I got to check Robertson County.
What do you mean, a bonfire? You didn't invite us? Come on, folks.
Checking Robertson County right now.
2918 says, boy, it sure sounds like y'all can't do a show without talking about how much you drink. Well, the only thing worse than listening to drinkers sit around I'm going to pick on Chad for a moment. The only thing worse than listening to drinkers sit around and talk about drinking is listening to a guy who's never drank sit around talking about drinking.
There is no active burn ban in Robertson County, Tennessee.
Congratulations, Robertson County. Burn them if you got them. Tate says, I saw a guy burning a massive pile of trees near Flat Creek Road. Get on it.
Somebody needs to burn that couch on I-24.
This is why I should not believe AI, because I looked it up on AI and they said, oh, no, there's a Tennessee burn ban. And it felt wrong to me, but I believed it. And I shouldn't have believed it, and I should have burned my stuff at the time. 52 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hopefully, Jack Johnson coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We had Cameron Sexton on last Thursday, and Cameron gave us kind of a preview of what might be in the special session, although we did not know that we would have a call to the special session at that time. Now, Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson will join us at some point today. It might not be exactly at 4 o'clock because I don't know how things are going over there, and he asked me to help him be fluid on this. But we'll find out exactly what bills will be presented. I think I have an idea. House Bill 7001, House Bill 7002, House Bill 7003, House Bill 7004, and House Bill 7005. I've got those, and I'll share them with you. Coming up in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and it's time to talk about your health. Obviously, I want you to be as healthy as possible, but if you are feeling down in the dumps, if you're feeling like you're not your best, and you're looking for a place that will treat you without interference from others, particularly insurance companies, I encourage you to get to Grace Point Healthcare. Grace Point Healthcare, we call them modern medicine. Deliver the old-fashioned way. That's what it's all about. With Grace Point Healthcare, there's no long wait times. They don't believe in it. They don't believe, when you call, when you feel sick, and you make the call and you say, hey, I need to get in to see the doctor. And they say, oh, yeah, that's great. It'll be 2 weeks from today. And you're like, I'm sick today. I'm not sick 2 weeks from now. I'm sick right now. Well, they don't believe in all of that at Grace Point. Plus, when you get to your doctor's appointment, they don't believe in making you sit out there and wait for these long periods of time either. You'll get right in and right back. Grace Point treats the whole body with comprehensive medical approaches, getting to the root of the problem instead of just treating the symptoms. And most importantly, they don't let the insurance company involve itself in the decision-making between you and your doctor. They don't believe in that either. That's why they are a direct pay format. Ask them about the Smart Care plan when you go to Grace Point Healthcare. Ask them about how you can have unlimited office visits for the entire year at one low cost that's paid through your HSA. Thank you to the big, beautiful bill. Grace Point Healthcare, Franklin, Tennessee, 599-6868. 599-6868. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.
Democrat 9th District Congressman Steve Cohen raising his voice outside the state capitol, upset about redistricting. I'll let you hear that coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Can't wait for those headlines with Ken Weaver. That's in mere moments. Your telephone calls, we continue to field those at 615-737-9986. Plus, Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson is on his way. He'll be here in just a few moments to talk about the special session that began some hours ago. The expectation was, and I suppose that they fulfilled that expectation, that they convene, they throw bills on the table for what is called a first reading, and then they get the heck out of Dodge until tomorrow, which is apparently what they have done. A lot of protests, a lot of people very upset about what democracy looks like. We'll discuss. I mean, this is
democracy.
Isn't this what democracy looks like? I mean, is this not what we voted for? I thought this is what we voted for. 615-737-9986. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the news.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, tracking the potential for severe weather overnight and then again tomorrow. We're on the very low risk for that. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Tennesseans heading to the polls today for primary races for mayor, judges, commissioners, and school board seats. And over at the State House, lawmakers have gathered in special session to redraw congressional maps. Republicans want to turn the 9th District, basically Memphis, red. About 100 people protested outside the state capitol, claiming that's going to take away black representation. Channel 4 aired this from a woman claiming it is racist. And then you've got 9th District Democrat Congressman Steve Cohen yelling to throw out any Memphis state lawmaker who goes along with it.
To see this many people out here when they're trying their hardest to make sure that we don't have a voice is spectacular. It's really exciting.
I want you to watch how every Memphis legislator votes. Yeah. And if any of them vote for this plan, throw them out.
Democrats trying to make Davidson County a single district again. This special session expected to last 3 days. Mayor Freddie O'Connell says he's running for re-election and promises to focus more on affordability in a second term. Operation Epic Fury, Secretary of State Rubio today standing in for White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt as she begins her maternity leave. Rubio saying that 2 U.S.-flagged merchant vessels successfully transited the Strait of Hormuz as part of Operation Freedom. That's the U.S. escorting any ships to get through there as long as they're not doing business with Iran. Rubio saying multiple countries had asked the U.S. to help with Project Freedom. Here he is referring to Iran.
It cannot be that you have these straits and they blow up any ship that moves and the only ships that get to go through are theirs. You can't have a situation in which the straits are closed to everyone else, but they benefit from the piracy. That can't happen. That's why the blockade is in place, and that's why these sanctions are crippling them.
U.S. says it sank 6 Iranian boats as it began escorting ships through the strait. And President Trump telling reporters today he thought the price of oil would actually be higher than it is right now.
I look today, it's like at 102, and that's a very small price to pay for getting rid of a nuclear weapon from people that are really mentally deranged.
Right now in Middle Tennessee, Gas Buddy putting the average price per gallon at $4.21. That's up 1 cent since 10 o'clock this morning. It's up 24 cents since last week. AI doctors may be in the future, but one state says an AI company is trying to make them the present without telling its users. ABC's Brian Clark explains.
Governor Josh Shapiro says Pennsylvanians deserve to know who or what they're interacting with online, especially when it comes to their health. The Commonwealth sued Character Technologies, claiming its Character AI chatbot is illegally holding itself out as a doctor, and that makes users think they're getting actual medical advice. Character did not comment on this suit, but it's faced several suits over child safety. Last year, it banned minors from using its chatbots. Brian Clark, ABC News.
Character did not comment on the suit, but says in a statement it prioritizes responsible product development and user well-being. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Complete stop and go brake tapping in the usual places. Eastbound 440 over to 24, and then it is really gummed up. Eastbound 24 from 440. Both directions 40 between downtown and the eastern split. Northbound 65 to the south loop, then eastbound south loop to 65. Northbound north loop up to the northern split. Got a crash blocking both the right shoulder, actually just the right shoulder. That's going to be 65 northbound before I-440. And Kingston Springs still showing debris in the left lane, 40 westbound at exit 188. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, episode 1030. It is May the 5th. I hope that you enjoy your Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo has long been an unhealthy excuse for Americans to go out and drink margaritas on a day that doesn't really mean that much to them otherwise. I enjoy Mexican food, generally speaking, about once a week, regardless of whether it's Cinco de Mayo or not, and I will be enjoying some tonight as well. But y'all be safe and out there, and especially if you're around the capital of the state of Tennessee, be safe. There's a lot of activity going on. I mean, obviously there's You know what? I need to ask our next guest about what the time frame is on this construction. Hey, Jackson, remember when we went in our Waymo down to the Capitol? Senator Jack Johnson is with us. He joins us fresh from the beginning of the special session that was called by the governor of the state of Tennessee last Friday. We're going to discuss all of these things. Before we do, have you been on a Waymo yet?
I have. I did it's kind of a demonstration ride. They came and brought one up near the Capitol and invited members to come out and ride around in it. And y'all know, if you took one, I mean, you get in this car in the back seat. So it was a representative from Waymo and myself in the back seat. There's no one in the driver's seat, no one in the passenger seat in the front, and it takes off, driving off. And we turned from Charlotte onto 5th, and just as we turned, a delivery truck pulled out, like out of one of those loading dock areas or something. And I was, whoa, what's going to happen here? And the Waymo just stopped and let that truck back out. And then when it was out of the way, we continued our journey.
If you've not checked out our video on we call it our Murphy Mess Around on the Super Talk YouTube site, do. What was most impressive, I think I can speak for Jackson on this front, was the aggressive, is that the right word, Jackson? Aggressive nature?
I would say decisive.
Decisive nature of the automobile.
Yes.
I mean, and I was fascinated. I know you're not here to talk about this, but I was fascinated with, we were going to the Capitol, and we were on, I guess, were we on Broadway or Demonbreun?
Demonbreun.
We were on Demonbreun, and we were going to go straight. It had the vehicle had decided the way to go was straight, but then a light changed, and it went, oh, I'll take a left. It like changed its own mind, which I don't know why that little thing fascinated me, but it had decided that this was the way to go. Oh, no, wait, circumstances have changed. Let's reassess and calibrate. And then a little later on in the drive, it took you would have taken the left, I would have taken the left, but there was traffic coming, and it was like, you've got to go or not go.
Oh, yeah. You
and
got to make that decision.
And I was just impressed with the fact that it went.
It went. It knew it had enough time, and it had the ability to get through there.
I love it. I'm excited to hear how the beginning of the special session went.
Yeah, we convened in the Senate chamber and House as well. So the governor issued the call, as you know. It's how the process works. There's two ways you can go into a special session. The governor can call you in for any reason, and you have to come. And he stipulates what you can discuss during the special session, and that is in the call for the special. We call it the call. He issues the call. And we've had several, throughout the years. And so we issued the call late last week for us to come in today at 2, and we did. And it's largely procedural. I heard you as I was driving in, and you're right. In order for a bill to be considered, it has to be passed on first consideration, one legislative day, second consideration, another legislative day. Then it goes to committee, and then it can come back for third and final consideration and ultimate passage on the Senate floor. So we did those procedural things to get we call them caption bills. There'll be vehicles if we decide to do something. We got those passed on first consideration today.
All right. So while we're doing this, let's just talk about the procedure. So you mentioned it's first consideration. I think I said first reading. So first consideration.
Yeah, same thing. First reading, first consideration.
That's already happened.
We did that today. Yeah.
And so because these have to be on separate days, there's no real
nothing.
There's
else
no
to
other
do.
business to do.
We're on, and our friends across the aisle had some thoughts about the session and their objections to it, and so they spoke for a while, which they're perfectly entitled to do. I think we were in and out in about 30 minutes, but the actual business that we needed to conduct took about 5 minutes. It just the way and then we'll go in the morning at 8:30, and we'll pass those on second consideration, and then they can go to committees and be heard in committees tomorrow afternoon.
So one of the things that has to be done, and before we talk about, generally speaking, the purpose here, there was a law passed, I guess, in the early 1970s by a previous General Assembly and signed by a previous governor. That said, hey, we're not going to get into the business of redrawing district lines in the midst of a census or in the midst of the process. We're going to do it after the census happens. That is the current law, but so you have to change that before you do anything else.
We do. We will, and we've filed a vehicle for that, and I'm the sponsor of these bills, although I'll probably have my other colleagues of mine that will help present them through the process as we move forward. But yes, that is one thing that we will have to do, because I can't articulate better than you did. There's a law in the books that says we can't do what we're there to do. So we'll have to change that law, which is certainly our purview.
Your prerogative. I mean, I keep going back to this is what democracy looks like. The elected officials of the state of Tennessee have made a decision based on the Supreme Court ruling, and so this all comes from that ruling, right? And I could make the case, and you tell me if I'm off base here, that there's a certain, I don't know if it's a necessity, I don't know that there's necessarily an urgency, but there's certainly a legitimacy to looking at how the lines have been drawn previously in the state of Tennessee and whether or not those lines included racial consideration, because the Supreme Court has now clearly said we're beyond that. Whatever previous courts have determined regarding racial consideration, we're not drawing congressional district lines based on the racial components of these districts anymore.
Yeah, so you're right. The decision that came down last week, Louisiana v. Calais, I think is how you say it, that decision clarified the legal landscape for redistricting for all states. And the bill that we're going to be introducing responds to that and would redistrict with the state's lawful conservative interest at the forefront, limiting any litigation risk by removing racial data from the map-making process altogether.
So when you're challenged from a political perspective, these are Republicans trying to create 9 Republican districts and taking away what is currently a Democrat district. Now, on one front, I have said Tennessee was actually kind of in front of redrawing lines to better represent the people of the state of Tennessee, because what you guys accomplished in 2022, I thought was masterful, in that you did it in such a way, in a fair-minded way, that they did not bring suit against. I mean, there was no lawsuit against the redrawn congressional district lines in 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't believe so. There were lawsuits filed on the state Senate and state House maps.
Right.
But I think you're right. I don't think there was a case that advanced against the congressional lines. That's correct.
And I did not hear very much of a pushback from Democrats as to how that was done. I mean, and it turned what was a Democrat seat 5 into a Republican seat, and by extension, and probably more importantly, it took a major metropolitan area in terms of Nashville, and instead of one congressional representative, it offered 3 congressional representatives.
Yeah, 1/3 of our congressional delegation. We have 9 congressional districts, so 1/3 of them represent Nashville. You're right. So they have great representation.
And I think we have an opportunity to do some of that in Memphis as well.
Well, look, Tennessee is a conservative state, and there's no question about that. And our congressional representation in Washington should reflect that. And that's what we're there to talk about this week.
Talk to me about the folks down at the Capitol. Were they, I mean, obviously they're very upset. They have a lot of feelings about what is happening. What if you were able to speak to them reasonably, Jack, as Senate Majority Leader and as someone who has the duty of bringing these bills before the Tennessee Senate, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, I say welcome. This is your capital. It belongs to you. Well, there may be some that have been bussed in from out of state, so I don't know that, but that's certainly been the case previously at various times. Look, I love the First Amendment, and I've said this on your show before, but I have been a Capitol protester. I was up at the Capitol as a protester, just as these people are there, and now I'm getting protested at the Capitol as a member of the Senate. So love the First Amendment, love people coming, expressing their viewpoints, as long as it's done civilly and without violence and disruption or destruction to property. There was a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, had a couple of disruptions in the Senate gallery. Our speaker handled those very, very efficiently. And look, the Capitol belongs to the people of Tennessee, and they have every right to be there. If I were to have a question, be able to sit down and have a conversation. And by the way, I've had people calling the office or emailing, and I've had constituents that have reached out to have a conversation about this, and I welcome those conversations, again, as long as they're civil and don't resort to yelling. But look, Tennessee is a very conservative state. Our congressional delegation should represent the values of the people of Tennessee.
Do you expect that, I mean, I can only imagine that there's an expectation that whatever happens this week, it will get to a court somewhere?
I think that's certainly a possibility. I hope not. We have the constitutional authority to do what we're doing and to revisit our congressional district lines, and we're going to go through that process legally and lawfully. But certainly we can be sued, and there's always a possibility of that happening. I have great confidence in our Attorney General and his ability to defend our actions, but we'll see.
Jack Johnson is with us. If you have any questions for the Senate Majority Leader, get them in on the super text line. You can call them in if you desire, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. Tell us a little about the specifics of what bills are being filed. There's 5 of them, I guess?
Yeah, there are. And walking through those, we have a caption bill that would accommodate legislation to redraw our congressional map. We have a bill that will accommodate language to open up the filing deadline. If we do advance and we change these districts, we're going to have to open up the ability for people to qualify to be on the ballot. We have an appropriations bill because there will be some expense involved. And anytime we have a special session, obviously that has to be paid for as well. So we need to accommodate that. You already discussed the bill that we'll need to consider if we move forward that would repeal the law that was previously passed relative to the prohibition on mid-decade or in-between census redistricting.
And I believe that if I read correctly, there's also a piece that, and maybe this is the qualification piece that you were talking about, that would not preclude already qualified candidates or sitting candidates from running for House congressional districts, even if they are drawn out of those district lines. Is that right?
That's already the law. You actually,
okay.
Yeah, you actually
have the right to run.
You do not have to live in a congressional district in order to run for that district. Certainly, that's something that could potentially be used against you in a campaign, of course. But no, you don't actually have to live in a congressional district to run. You have to live in a state.
Is it voting day? It's voting day for you today.
It is, yeah, local,
right?
For our county offices. That's right.
I don't think. See, I'm confused because I don't think Maury County voted today. I need
they have
clarification.
a caucus for.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, so they do a caucus in Maury County, but I don't know if it's for all the races. So I probably should know. It's a neighboring county. I know how we do it in Williamson County. All of our county offices in Williamson County are on the ballot: county mayor, county commission, sheriff,
Was there
register
not, I mean,
deeds and so forth.
as an aside, if I might ask, was there not an effort this year to kind of uniform that?
Yeah.
Is there, can you articulate the justification
Sure.
for keeping it split?
Yeah, so there was a bill. It did not pass, but there was a really good conversation. There's actually two initiatives here. So let me talk about we have done the very first initial step to amend our Constitution to have these elections that are taking place today. So today, think county, Williams County, Murray County, although some counties do a caucus. Remember, we passed a bill, but those that have been doing caucuses were grandfathered in. But most counties in Tennessee are having a primary today, Republican and Democrat, for sheriff, county mayor, county commission, so forth. There is a proposed, it's very, very early stages and couldn't even be considered by the people of Tennessee until 2030, to move this election that's being held today to have that primary in August when the state and federal primary is. And then the general would be in November. So that's one initiative, but our current process is in the Constitution, so that would require a constitutional amendment. There was another bill for local municipal races for cities, because cities, they're all over the place. Some are in odd years and off years, and some do theirs.
They're kind of doing their own thing.
Kind of doing their own thing. Some do them in a every 2-year state federal election, and they have their election either on the August primary date or the November primary date. I can argue that both ways. I've got communities, cities, municipalities in my district that do it both ways. And, there's some that do have their own special election for mayor and city council, and they want it that way because they want the people voting to be focused on those races and not focused on who's running for governor or president or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they want the lower voter turnout. I said that. You didn't say that. Well, you asked and answered. I just, for the life, I feel like you're going to get lower voter turnout for your county elections than you would for state and or federal elections.
Right. And that's the argument for that. And I voted to advance that. Again, amending the Constitution is a laborious process, and it should be, because that's a really big deal.
2 consecutive years of voting on this?
2 consecutive General Assemblies, so every 2 years.
Okay,
so it takes 4, you got to go through a 4-year process. One General Assembly, it has to pass by both House and Senate by at least a simple majority. The next General Assembly, it has to pass by 2/3. And it can be done in either year of that General Assembly, first or second year, has passed by 2/3 vote. If that happens, then it goes before the voters for ratification on the next gubernatorial election cycle.
All right, so Jack just eloquently described how we're going to get gambling in the state of Tennessee. That's the only way to do it, right? Am I right about that? Right? I think the constitutional is a prohibition, so you would have to alter. Is that how the lottery happened?
It was. Yeah, had to amend the Constitution back in the 90s or early 2000s. I think it was. That had to be ratified by the voters.
I want to when we have short time out, but when we come back, I want to ask you, kind of set aside the process and the procedure in your role as Senate Majority Leader, and just talk to you about, if you feel like the math works, because my concern is the math.
Sure.
On whether or not we're creating a dynamic by which we end up with more than one toss-up in the congressional map.
Absolutely.
And, and the kind of new dynamic that we talk about this along political or partisan lines per the Supreme Court. They said that's the manner in which we discuss this. Senator Jack Johnson is with us 24 after the hour. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I've been discussing my battles with carpenter bees, and I talked to J.K. Brister at U.S. Pest about this battle. He's like, Murphy, why in the world haven't you gotten me out there? I got your solution. Dude, I have you on this. He's got you on all the bugs that bug you in your home, at your place of business, in your yard. It's all about just making that call and getting them out there to give you a free pest and termite inspection. That's what it's about, folks. If you're currently unsatisfied with your pest control company that you have right now, or if you don't have pest control, you need it. In the state of Tennessee, this time of year, are you kidding me? These bugs they're making baby bugs. Whether it's spiders or stink bugs or ladybugs or ants or silverfish or roaches or fleas or ticks or fleas or ticks or carpenter bees, they are busy destroying what you work hard for and using yours. Bugs are a little socialist, and we don't like socialists in this country. We like the American liberty-minded system, and we like killing those things. So USPest.com is the way to go. USPest.com or 590-1260. 590-1260. They love America and they hate bugs at US Pest.
Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Another look at traffic. Right now, we are tracking the potential for severe weather here in Middle Tennessee. It is the lowest risk level, but we do have some rain in the neighborhood, and there are some parts that are a little heavier than others, but no storms. Just some areas of heavy rain embedded a larger area of just scattered showers. It's primary election day across Tennessee, with voters choosing nominees for several local offices. Polls open today until 7. Government-issued photo ID required to vote in person. Tennessee lawmakers meeting in a special session to reconsider the state's congressional map. Republicans want to turn the 9th district, which is Memphis, red. And Channel 4 says it drew about 100 protesters, including Memphis State Senator London Lamar, to rally outside the state capitol before the session started.
Let's be very clear what this is about. This is about eroding black voting power in Tennessee.
The legacy of Memphis is historical. And today, we are here because the General Assembly wants to take away the votes of Memphians because they don't like the way we choose our representatives. They want to redraw the lines right after a Supreme Court decision that the ink ain't even been dry on.
And the U.S. Supreme Court ruled Louisiana relied too heavily on race when it formed a second black majority congressional district. Mayor Freddie O'Connell here in Nashville promising to make Nashville more affordable after announcing he's running for re-election. Operation Epic Fury, President Trump says the U.S. has been attacked about 10 times from Iran, but that the military is not retaliating. Trump answered a question about what kind of attack would lead the U.S. military to respond.
Well, you'll find out because I'll let you know. They know what to do, and they know what to do. They know what not to do, more importantly, actually.
U.S. says it sank 6 Iranian boats as it began escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz. As oil and gas prices continue to rise, here's Tom Sufi Burridge.
Their aspiration is that more will feel confident enough that the U.S. military has got this operation up and running to create this kind of security bubble around those waters, that more shipping companies, more insurance companies linked to them, which the U.S. military say they're in touch with. They say they're in touch with hundreds of ships thinking about making this voyage. The question is, will those shipping companies, will the crews on board feel more confident enough, given the exchange of fire yesterday, in the coming days to make that trip?
Right now in Middle Tennessee, Gas Buddy putting the average price per gallon at $4.21. That's up a cent since this morning, 24 cents since last week. And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Very heavy brake tapping eastbound South Loop at 65. Both directions of 65 between the South Loop and 440, then eastbound 440 over to 24. Both directions of 40 between downtown and the eastern split, and then eastbound 24 from 440. Northbound North Loop, that is very heavy as well. We've got a crash at Antioch, 24 eastbound at Haywood Lane. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you for a moment. You know, we often talk when I speak of King & Associates about homeowners and automobile insurance, and that was my experience, right? I knew I needed homeowners when I moved to Murray County, and so I knew I was going to call King & Associates. Emory helped me out, boy, and he said, Murphy, let me take a crack at this auto insurance. Let me put this together with your homeowners. I can save you money. I said, there's no way, Emory. I got a great deal. I got a great company. You won't be able to do it. He saved me almost $400 a year on my automobile insurance alone. Not to mention the great deal that we got from homeowners. Well, now I want to tell you a little about life insurance. And I know this is kind of a bummer of a discussion because no one likes to consider the fact that, you know, we will all leave this mortal coil at some point. Well, if you are not protected, if you don't protect your family, because it's not about you necessarily when it comes to life insurance, it's about your children, it's about your grandchildren, it's about your family in their totality. Let's make sure that everything is taken care of in the unlikely event that tragedy strikes. King & Associates can do that. They make it very simple with no pressure, no confusion, clear options that fit you and your family. 615-329-8121. Tell them I sent you. 329-8121 or T, letter T, kinginsurance.com. T, kinginsurance.com. This Mother's Day, and Mother's Day is coming up, y'all. Y'all know that, right? It's this weekend. This Mother's Day, for the mother in your life, don't just mail this in. Look, I don't, flowers and candy. That's wonderful. That's nice. And you should get mama flowers and candy. But what about a home run gift that she's going to be talking about this year, next year, and forever to come? I'm talking Genesis Diamonds. They've created the best Mother's Day collection ever. Imagine her face lighting up when she opens up a dazzling diamond bracelet, a pair of sparkling diamond earrings, or a stunning colored gemstone pendant. I can't believe that someone like Jack Johnson wouldn't be rushing over to find a wonderful gift for his mother in his life. And that would be his wife, I would suppose, at Genesis Diamonds. I'm just including Jack because he's looking nervous, as if he hasn't shopped for Mother's Day quite yet. But if you're in that boat, don't worry. I got you covered. Go to Genesis Diamonds. They have a half-price vault. So if you're a baller on a budget, don't worry. It will present as it's going to be a wonderful gift, but you get it for half off, and she doesn't have to know that. Genesis Diamonds can direct you to the half-price vault with an incredible 50% off. So this Mother's Day, give her more than just the casual gift. Give her something incredibly special. From Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs, tell them Matt Murphy sent you. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Any questions for Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson, who's fresh from day one of the special session happening very quickly? And, when we spoke to Cameron Sexton, the Speaker of the House, last week, it was last Thursday, this Supreme Court ruling had come down. We had just found out that day that the President of the United States had spoken to Governor Bill Lee about the possibility of considering whether or not there is a better way to represent the state of Tennessee through our congressional districts. Speaker Cameron Sexton told me at that time, and I forget, I said this earlier in the week, and I'm not trying to break his confidence, but I forget if this was public or private, but I don't think he would mind me sharing it. I said that, well, this time frame, this can't happen. He goes, Matt, it's better than 50-50. And he said that last Thursday. Well, obviously, it's 100% now as we have begun the special session. Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson's with us to discuss it. Away from how this happened. Well, let me ask you this question first. How does the process of deciding what the lines are going to be work functionally? Is there a committee? Is there a special group? Do you have organized presentations of potential maps? How does all that work?
Yeah, so it's actually a bill, and so it works very similar to the way you craft legislation. Now, this is a complex matter, and so the House and Senate have retained experts that know how to do this and have access to software and tools to consider. We're doing all of this based on 2020 census data because that's what we have to work with. Even though the population of our state has changed, but that's what we're required to utilize. So yeah, the House is working, and their leadership is taking a look at this. Just as, in fact, when we were on the break, I pulled up the actual call from the governor because it does a really good job of articulating why the governor called us in. And then the Senate is doing the same thing. And at some point, as we go to committees and we see what each chamber is looking at, we have to come together and compromise. And if we decide to move forward with changing our congressional maps, there's got to be agreement between the House and Senate.
I mean, is it fair to ask you what you believe the body is looking toward, or what you would think that the map would look like? I mean, generally speaking, I'm not asking for specifics because I don't think you have them, but can you speak generally on it?
Yeah, so it's it might sound kind of simple, but it's not. And there are considerations that have to go in terms of how many counties are split and obviously the geographic makeup, and it's a fairly complex process. But at the end of the day, what we're there to do this week, what the governor's asked us to do, is to take a look at those maps and see if they accurately reflect the conservative values of the people of Tennessee. Tennessee is an overwhelmingly conservative state, and we want to make sure our conservative voice is heard in Washington. And if that necessitates a change to our congressional map, we'll do it.
It leads me to a question that was asked, and I will make an assumption that this is one of our maybe left of center or Democrat listeners who says, you say that Tennessee is a conservative state, but it's not exclusively Republican. What would be your response to that? I mean, because the design, let me ask it in the form of a question. Is the design to flip the 9th from Democrat to Republican?
Yes.
And so how would you respond? Well, we don't only have Republicans in the state of Tennessee. There are Democrats here. Why? I guess I'll ask it this. Why can't they have a seat, Jack?
Well, again, we want to make sure that the folks that we're electing in Tennessee that go to Washington and vote on national policy are reflecting the will of the people of Tennessee. And the vast majority of Tennesseans are very, very conservative. You can look up in the Northeast. I think that, Massachusetts has 40% of their population is Republican, but they have not a single Republican member of Congress in the state of Massachusetts. New Hampshire is 48% Republican, 52% Democrat, and they have not a single Republican representative. So again, other states have certainly done this. It's a political matter, and that's what we're there to discuss this week, and to make sure that the people we're sending, the men and women we send to Washington, are representing our values.
Jack Johnson is with us answering these questions regarding the possibility of redistricting. Let's, away from your role as Senate Majority Leader and your role as a sponsor of the legislation, just from a political perspective, your political acumen is strong. I'm looking at the numbers, and if the goal is to flip the seat, and I don't think anyone's ashamed about saying, yeah, we want, as you've said twice now, we want the representation in Washington, D.C. to reflect this state and what its values truly are, then I'm just worried about the math. And I said last week that I'm just trying to make the math work in my head, considering that right now 9 is a plus 23 Democrat. So you're going to have to figure out how to turn a plus 23 and take the numbers from other congressional districts and kind of move those around consistent with the population, right? I mean, because that is one of the things you have to do, right? You have to match population totals. Geography is not so much a consideration.
It's not.
Do you feel confident that the math works?
I do. And again, that's not by accident. That's the will of the people of Tennessee. And I keep saying it, but I can't remember exactly the vote total that President Trump got in Tennessee, but it was north of 60%. It was approaching 2/3 of the vote in our state, and so we have a significant surplus of Republican voters in this state. But that's one of the things we're looking at this week, as we're looking at the map. And if our goal is to make sure that the people we send to Washington are reflecting our conservative values, then we want to make doubly sure that's what happens. So, yes, we'll be paying very close attention to all of that.
All right. So what, in your mind, is the perfect scenario from a timeline perspective? Obviously, August 6th is the primary. When would you need to have this settled in terms of new districts and getting candidates on board for those elections?
Sure. And that's all part of the conversation we'll be having this week. And there are a lot of moving pieces and parts to it, but it can be done. We wouldn't have, the governor wouldn't have called us in if there was not
the
a
time
path.
just didn't work.
Exactly. Yeah. But it needs to be done this week. We need to, if we're going to make a change to the map, then we need to have that resolved this week, get legislation passed to do that, get it to the governor for his signature. And then, and one of the things we'll contemplate is, since the district lines will change, is opening up a filing period for people to qualify to run. And of course, you've got some who have already qualified, and so we got to figure out the best way to handle them. But we will make it so that, if someone wishes to run, and based on these changes in the district lines, then there will be a process to do that. So it can be done. It is. We got to move fairly quickly, not irresponsibly. But that's why we're there this week, and we're prepared to spend the necessary amount of time to make sure, if we're going to do it, we do it right.
And I brought it up at the beginning of the conversation. In 2022, there was not a lawsuit filed against the congressional districts, but there were some suits against the redrawing of state Senate lines and I think House lines. And that is a possibility in this case as well, that these congressional district lines can be challenged. And given the temperature and emotions involved in what is going on in the Supreme Court decision, I'm I would imagine that is an expectation among leadership.
Well, like I said, I hope that's not the case. We think we absolutely have the constitutional authority, and I'll go so far as to say obligation to do what we're doing this week, and that's why we're there, and that's why the governor called us in. But we're gonna follow the rules. We're gonna listen to our excellent legal staff up on the Hill, and if we do advance legislation, we'll do everything we can to make sure it's lawful, and can withstand a judicial challenge if there is one.
Anything else we need to know about this week? I mean, your expectation. You mentioned the week time frame. You'll be done by Thursday?
That's the plan. We adopted a schedule today that includes another floor session tomorrow morning, and as I said earlier in the previous segment, committee meetings tomorrow throughout the day, and then a final floor session on Thursday. We can always amend that if we needed to add additional time. I hope we don't, and I don't think we will need to. But if we needed to come back Friday, we possibly could. But the goal is, and I think we'll be successful, is to get it done by Thursday.
It will. Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally get more cake because he had to come back? I mean, we that's just a joke. But I mean,
we had a wonderful celebration of the career of Randy McNally, and a very, very well deserved, and paid tribute to him. And of course, when we were doing that, we thought that was the last day of our regular session, and we thought that would be it. And of course, he would retire, and he's chosen not to run for re-election this November. But that wasn't the case, so we're back. So I don't know. We may have another celebration.
Just out of curiosity, as sponsor of the legislation, Senate Majority Leader, and then obviously Cameron Sexton over in the House as Speaker of the House, you're in charge of having these lines redrawn. This clearly impacts a lot of congressmen in Tennessee, and the names, obviously, Scott DeJoy. Sure. So is there, do you have to be careful about how you're doing this in terms of keeping it on board and making sure, I guess the way that I would say this is these are friends and colleagues, and they want to advance what is in the best interest of the state of Tennessee, but it also impacts them in a way that I would think that you would want to kind of do your thing and then let the chips fall where they may and let them react after the fact. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Again, I hate to be oversimplistic about it, but it really is the motivation of my colleagues and myself to go in and make sure that our congressional lines are reflecting the conservative values of our state. And we don't draw lines for any particular person or any particular entity. We want to make sure that the lines are representing the conservative values. And we have some wonderful members of Congress. You're friends with numerous of them, and I am too. And so for the most part, and here's the thing:
they're obviously they're probably part of the. They're probably more interested than anyone else because they want to know where their congressional districts are changing, if they are changing at all.
Sure, absolutely. And I haven't spoken with many of them, but a couple of them have called, and I said, look, our job is to make sure our constituents are well represented in Washington, and that's not in any way disrespectful to the representation you're providing, but that's our first priority, is to do that. And I will add, I think we mentioned this off air, that you don't have to live in a particular district to run for it. It's probably desirable that you do, but given a change of this the way this is coming about, I could see, people running for a particular district, and then maybe they get elected and they could move into it. So we're not hamstringing anyone's ability to run, but we just want to have good, solid conservative districts.
And I suppose as a good interviewer, I should know the answer to this, but you mentioned it at the front end, and I want to follow up. So when you say you're opening up qualifying, one of the pieces was qualifying previously closed and you're reopening it? Is that the idea?
That's correct. Yeah. So the filing period to run for office, and it's the same for State House, State Senate, and Congress. I believe it started, in January. I think is when you could start pulling your petitions, and then that period ended in March. And I don't remember the exact date. I should know, but the date by which you have to have that turned in, your petition with your signatures, and then that qualifies you to run. and then of course the whole bona fide process, to make
Right.
sure if you're running as a Republican, and so that takes place. So I think what we will look at is opening that again in the event that there are folks that have not qualified to run that, based on these new lines, would like to
Right.
consider running.
This changes the dynamic,
Exactly.
so you should reopen that opportunity for people that perhaps considered it before, decided not to.
And if we do change the map, and once it becomes public, they may change their mind. They may, based on the composition of the district and where it goes, they might want to run.
I wish you a safe session, first and foremost. I know that there are many emotions. I want final thought on this with regard to some of the language being used by a few of your colleagues on the left, suggesting that there's a motivation of a racial nature. I push back on that strongly, and I would suggest that even that sort of language in and of itself has a level of soft bigotry involved in it. The assumption that if you are of a certain color, you're going to vote a certain way is repugnant to me. I mean, I understand I'm not immune to voting blocks in the past, but things change. Tennessee certainly has changed over the years. Any response to some of the emotionally charged language that's being used?
And I've gotten some of those emails and phone calls and things, and that's fine for people to perhaps feel that way. But I can honestly say that my sincere interest in this, and I think the governor's, I don't speak for the governor, but I know him well, and the members of the General Assembly, is to take a look at these districts and make sure that we're representing the values of this state.
And you don't shy away from the fact that you want the state represented by Republicans in Washington, D.C., because you think that does represent those
They
values.
make better public policy for all of us. There are 435 congressional districts out there. We control 9 of them, and we want to make sure that they're representing Tennessee's conservative values.
There's Senator Jack Johnson. Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Matt.
52 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Accurate Mortgage is on my mind, and, I love these guys. I appreciate them. I appreciate everything that they did for me getting into our home, a family home in Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. And I love the house. And it would not have happened without Accurate Mortgage, I can tell you that. Mike and his team were so good. Mike won first and foremost. I was like, Mike, can I do this? I mean, interest rates, and what are we doing here? And he goes, Murphy, do not worry about this. We're going to get you the best rate possible. We're going to never advise you to do something that is not in your best financial interest. We're going to give you the opportunity to see everything we're doing every step of the way. And they do this for everyone, not just for me, but for everybody. You need a trusted local, underline local advisor from Accurate Mortgage to help guide you through this crazy process in this crazy market. Do this today. Go to AccurateMTG.com, AccurateMTG.com for Accurate Mortgage. Tell them that I sent you when you make the call that so many others have made. Accurate Mortgage, your local mortgage provider. NMLS 129944. Rates and terms subject to change. Equal housing lender. Be confident in your mortgage decisions by calling our friends at Accurate Mortgage.
Day one of the special legislative session to redraw congressional maps in the books. We'll tell you all about it coming up at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm just being told that my hair looks quite fetching today. Thank you. Thank you. And no, Ken didn't say it.
Was that Jackson?
No, Jackson didn't say it either. It was a nice listener that mentioned that. A viewer on the Old Talk TV side of things. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Did they text it in?
They sent me the message.
That means they're not really in the YouTube chat, so.
No, they're not. I didn't say they were in the chat, Jackson. I didn't say that.
Which means they're probably not watching.
Well, I mean, how would they know if they weren't watching, Jackson?
They just want to make you feel good.
Well, I maybe it's by comparison. Hey, compared to Jack Johnson's hair, your hair looks great today. You see what I did there? I was nice to him. We had a lovely conversation, then smack them around when they leave. That's the way we do
You
it.
better make sure that raccoon bill is signed, dude.
Oh, yeah, we're done with the raccoon bill. But I need more next year, so I better shut up because Senator Jack Johnson is expected. Well, he's expected to be Lieutenant Governor Jack Johnson next session. How about that?
Woo!
How about we better get him out. We better wheel him out here and get some comments while he's just the Senate Majority Leader because, you know, when they become LG, they don't come around anymore.
Maybe we need to domesticate possums.
George Jones has nothing to do with this. I get it. You're talking about the real possums.
I'm talking about the.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Possums are good. I like possums. We'll be back. 2 more hours to go. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got rain moving through Nashville and other parts of Middle Tennessee. We are a low level risk for severe weather today and tomorrow, so we're keeping an eye on it for you. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Day one of the special session to redraw congressional maps in the books. It has drawn about 100 protesters. Listen as House Majority Leader William Lambert addresses some angry protesters there in the gallery. Followed up by Nashville Democrat State Rep Justin Jones, who claims it's all racist.
You may hold up any signs you want. You may hold up your phones. You can do anything you want to, as long as it is quietly. You may flip me a bird, ma'am. I saw that. Yes, ma'am. You may do that. I don't care. Okay?
Representative Lambert said this is, reprimanding the audience, this is not a sports game, but they're treating this like a game where black people's political power is expendable. He's told the audience, please be respectful to him, yet he's not respecting the black Tennesseans who live in this state.
The special session is expected to last 2 more days. Operation Epic Fury Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said the U.S. is locked and loaded in the Strait of Hormuz as it moves to open up the waterway.
The Pentagon calls it Project Freedom, a U.S. effort to ensure safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz.
Project Freedom is defensive in nature, focused in scope, and temporary in duration.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the effort involves U.S. destroyers, fighter jets, helicopters, drones, and surveillance aircraft, and it comes on top of the ongoing blockade of ships heading to or from Iranian ports. The Joint Chiefs Chairman says Iran has fired at U.S. forces more than 10 times since the ceasefire began last month, but he says those strikes were below the threshold of a return to major combat. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
As for those gasoline prices, they keep rising.
At the current national average of $4.50 a gallon, according to Gas Buddy, filling up an F-150 truck now costs over $103. A smaller SUV is now $30, more expensive every fill-up than it was before the war in Iran. And in many areas of the country, prices are much higher than the average. Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan says even worse could be coming because of uncertainty in the Strait of Hormuz.
If the strait remains closed, into the month of June, I think by July 4, we'll be at all-time record highs.
Alex Stone, ABC News.
Gas Buddy puts the average price per gallon here in Middle Tennessee at $4.21. That's up 24 cents from last week. Entertainment news.
The Rolling Stones have a new album coming out. Foreign Tongues will feature 14 new songs from the iconic band, including 2 singles, In the Stars and Rough and Twisted, both of which are out now. Look for the full album from Capitol Records on July 10th.
I'd like to be.
And speaking of the British invasion, Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr are teaming up for their first ever duo together. The former Beatles say their new song, Home to Us, is out on Friday.
That's Mike Nabusky reporting, and the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Crashes, Pegram, 40 westbound near the Davidson-Cheatham County line. Antioch, 24 eastbound at Haywood Lane. Rural Hill, an accident, 24 westbound before Bell Road. Mount Juliet, Highway Patrol reporting there's an object in the road. 40 eastbound at Mount Juliet Road, exit 226. Complete stop-and-go brake tapping eastbound 440 from 65 to 24, then eastbound 24 from 440. Both directions 65 between the South Loop and 440, and then eastbound South Loop to 65. Both directions East Loop and the North Loop. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I just get a kick out of the super text line, guys. I love each and every one of you. There's a lot of angry people. I wish that you would pick up the phones and give me a call, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. 8403 says next year's legislative pet project needs to be turtles. What? Well, what do we need to do with turtles?
Keep them as pets.
Well, I mean, I think you're allowed to keep turtles.
I don't think you can do that in Tennessee,
What?
actually. I got to look that up.
Are you kidding me, Weaver?
Dude, I think
like
we
one
had
of them big Mongo turtles?
I think we had a conversation about this.
Galapagos or whatever they're called.
Oh, the Galapagos, those big old tortoises.
Oh, those big suckers. They live to be like 160.
Yeah, Benson has a couple. He's got a couple of those big old turtles at his house out in Arizona.
I don't want to have anything as a pet that could potentially outlive me. I just don't. Right? I mean, no, I had a friend years ago, Ken. She was a little older than me. Her name was Diane. She had a parrot. And the parrot she was like 30, and the parrot was like 15, and she was a single, and she had to figure out like what she was going to do with the parrot, because the parrot lives to be like 65. And the possibility was high that the parrot would outlive her.
Yeah.
That's why when my grandpa was like 82, all of his pets were gone. He had cats, but that's kind of a different story, because I think I've told you the story where Pa was complaining about the cats.
Yeah.
Because he had one cat that was inside, and he had like 2 or 3 that were outside, and he would feed them outside. And so guess what he got more of? Cats, cats, a lot more cats.
Yes, sir.
And so, suddenly outside, he's got like 20 cats hanging around. This is after he lost the last of his dogs. And my grandpa called animal control and said, hey, how much I got these stray, kind of feral cats running around, and I don't need them. They're messing with my cats. And they said, well, that's fine, sir. We'll come out and catch them for $25 per cat. And my grandpa's like, what? And so he calls me and he says, you know what I'm going to do? I got some poison, and I'm just going to poison those cats. I was like, Pa.
Goodness.
I was like, Pa, don't, what? And he goes, I'm just going to bring my cats inside. I'm going to poison those other cats and take care of those, and then we'll be done with it. And I was like, Pa, why don't you just stop feeding them outside?
Yes.
Kid, I swear, he said this. I tell this story, people think I'm like, he didn't pause. He just said he's going to poison the cats, right?
Yes.
He said, well, no, I'm not doing that. I said, Pa, just stop feeding them. Well, I hate to see an animal suffer. What? So, but you're going to, well, they're not going to suffer. Here today, gone tomorrow. Okay. He didn't do it, by the way. He was all talk.
He was just joshing you.
All talk, Ken. He was not going to do it.
By the way, from what my chat GPT says, it is not legal to keep pets, or rather keep turtles as pets in Tennessee.
Any turtle?
It just says turtles.
No. I had a turtle when I was a kid.
I had several turtles.
Yeah.
I'd find them.
Yeah, we found one out. There was a little playhouse that we had in the grandparents' backyard, and we found one probably, a big, maybe a $50 sized turtle.
Little fella.
Oh, yeah, and we put him in an aquarium, and my mama would feed him and take care of him. We were too small. And guess what we named him, Ken?
I don't know.
Myrtle. Myrtle the turtle.
Myrtle the turtle.
Myrtle the turtle.
Yes, sir.
And the first curse word of many
in your young life?
In my young life occurred because of Myrtle the turtle.
What happened?
Oh, this is a true story. My grandmother loved telling this story. I have to alter the story slightly because y'all, I'm not proud of this. This is bad. I said GD.
Oh,
I did. But my grandmother was so amused. So my grandparents told me that if a turtle bit you, that it would hang on.
Yes.
Until it thundered.
Yes. That's what.
What does thundered mean?
Until it thundered.
Until it thundered. Until there was a thunderstorm and it thundered.
Yeah.
Now, Jackson, understand something. This was the old school way to prevent young Matt Murphy from doing stupid things.
Right. It's scare tactic.
It's a scare tactic. If that turtle bites you, that turtle's going to hang on to you until there's a thunderstorm. Well, I didn't believe all of that. So I kind of believed it, but I kind of didn't believe it. And so I was playing with Myrtle the turtle one day, and Myrtle clamped down on my pinky finger, and it hurt, drew blood. It was bad. Myrtle had grown considerably from the time that we first found Myrtle, and Myrtle was having none of it. And I got scared, and the first thing, it hurt, it was pain, and I thought, oh, no, it's going to be there till it rains. And I slung the turtle, and the turtle let go and fell back into the thing, and I was crying, and there was blood coming down my finger, and I ran outside, and I was like, ah! And my grandmother said, what's wrong? And I said, that damn turtle bit me!
But you didn't say damn, did you?
I didn't. I don't know. It just came out. It just came out of me.
Did you get in trouble?
No, my grandmother thought it was very, very funny. But she told me not to do that anymore, or otherwise I was going to get a whooping. And so I didn't. And that is the turtle story. We kept Myrtle the turtle until I was in high school. My mama did. And then my mama we had to make some different arrangements for mama because of her medical condition. And so mama was not going to be able to take care of Myrtle anymore. And so we released Myrtle into the wilderness.
How long do turtles live?
Well, it depends on the turtle. Depends on the type of turtle. But like we said, these tortoises live like to 160. I think Myrtle was like a box turtle. Let's find out together.
Yeah, it had little yellow lines on its shell. Yeah, it's a little box turtle.
Okay, so
I love those little turtles.
How long? See,
40 to 50 years.
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
Man.
Dang.
Boy, those turtles live a long time.
Yeah, they do, boy.
25 to 35 is the average. Some can live to be 70 to 80, and some even over 100.
So Myrtle, the possibility exists
that Myrtle's still alive.
Myrtle's still alive. And you know what she's probably wondering? I wonder where Matt is. Why did he let me go?
That's what
Myrtle's wondering.
Probably right outside your house, moving so slow.
Yeah, that's true. Reminds me of the old snail joke. You know the snail joke?
No.
Guy comes home one day. There's this big old snail, this nasty, gross, stinky, slimy snail on his front door. And like right on his front porch. And he's like, ew. And he didn't know what to do. So he just picks the snail up and throws it. Yeah, gross. 2 years go by. Guy comes home, drives into his driveway, goes up to the door's about to open the door. He looks down, and there's a snail there. Big old gross, slimy snail. And the snail looks up at him and says, what the hell was that? It took him that long to. You get it? You see, it was the same snail, Jackson. You see, obviously you're not laughing, so you don't get. So it's the same snail. It just took the snail that long to get back. And he's like, what the hell is that? Snail was upset at it. You see, Jackson, a guy walked. You get it? A guy walked. No? Okay.
Brother Jackson's not going to give you the satisfaction.
That's a fine joke, Jackson. That's a fine joke. It's better if you can tell it with certain language involved. Sometimes
colorful language helps.
Colorful language helps the joke on occasion. Hey, Steve Ansel was our ongoing correspondent during the entire period of Hurricane Helene.
Yes, sir.
And y'all remember this well. Steve would report on the regular, sometimes as many as 3 times a week, as to what we needed to do to help our friends over in East Tennessee and Western North Carolina as to the best way to, help our neighbors out. And Steve was such a valuable resource and just such a resource in his community, Asheville and the greater Asheville area. Well, Steve asked me if he could call in because he's a little frustrated with something that happened over the weekend, and I want to talk to him about it. What's up, Steve? How are you, brother?
I always stop for turtles in the road and rescue them.
Do you?
That is a rule my entire life.
Do you know the most important rule of doing that, Steve?
Don't get killed doing it.
No. Well, I mean, that's an important one. Here, somebody take them in the direction that they're going.
Yes.
Right? So people make the mistake of if you stop and a turtle's like going right to left on the road, don't take them back to the right. They're going that way for a reason. So if you take them back to the right-hand side of the road, they're just going to try to cross the road again. So take them to where they're going. That's a hot tip from Matt Murphy, Steve Ansel, and to you.
Always let them continue their journey.
Amen. Love it.
So, so I was pretty ticked off a couple days ago. I saw a 60 Minutes story on Hurricane Helene, and I I kind of classify them like CNN. I don't give them much credence or credit for anything. However, they are a national platform. And they did a story about how Western North Carolina was flooded with white nationalists during the rescue efforts. And several things came to mind when I watched this story, and I want to preface my remarks by saying that one of the people that was featured prominently in the story was Sheriff Griffin from Henderson County, and he is an outstanding sheriff. He is an outstanding person, and I am friends with him. I work with him on the recovery court, and so nothing that I'm going to say should be directed toward what his comments were. My anger was more over the media making a mountain out of a very tiny molehill. So, yes, we did have some anti-government people that came into our area to help. It was a very small group of people. I would characterize it as less than 40. They, despite their political beliefs or whatever their backgrounds were, they provided invaluable help at a time when we were willing to take help from anybody. And they came in with equipment, and they came in and helped. They came in and did supply and rebuilding. And yes, they spread some disinformation at one point, but that was nipped in the bud really quick because everybody that lives here and was on the ground could readily identify, okay, well, that's true or that's not true. But when I watched this story, it gave me a Charlottesville vibe. Like, I felt like there was an underlying motive for why are they doing this story now? Why are they taking one small isolated story and blowing it up onto national television? And it just gave me that same kind of vibe. And I came away from it really pretty angry. And, they ran some of the clips on Facebook on there. That's how I found out about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I knew to go and watch it. And I immediately went to the comments because I want to read the reaction. And overwhelmingly, the people that live here that went through what we went through were all like, look, these people helped us when no one else would. And we don't care what their political beliefs were. We'd have taken help from the devil himself if it meant that we were going to get help for our community. And it just struck me as I just felt like I needed to tell somebody and to tell you and your audience that, I don't like the media taking advantage of a natural disaster or really, they do it for all kinds of stuff. When there's a shooting, they use that as a gun control thing or whatever. Well, I don't like seeing Helene used to blow up something for what I feel like is a political narrative. So,
why was there a anniversary that I missed? Why did they decide to air this at this time?
I have no clue. All I knew, I didn't even know that Leslie Stahl was here. I found out about it. I saw a clip on the 60 Minutes Facebook, came across my feed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I immediately thought it was like an old story. Like I thought this was something that aired back
during the year anniversary or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I looked up, I saw what was the air date, and the air date was the 3rd of May. So then I went back and I watched the entire thing. It just aired 2 days ago. Now, I just link that with politics, with what is going on, and we're coming up on the midterms, and I just feel like the whole vibe from the story was we're going to gin this up and try to remind people that there are these people out there. And, you know, Helene impacted everybody here, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. You know, our world turned upside down. Today I was out doing deliveries, and I was in Batcave today, which was why I couldn't call you when I was supposed to earlier. And, you know, the devastation is still there. It took me, what should have taken a 20-minute drive, took me 2 hours today. And, you know, it's constant construction. It's constant stop and go. You know, our world is still a year and a half later. We're still just, you know, doing what we can.
Have all of the, by the way, speaking of that, Steve, have all of the roads, I mean, do you still have roads that have not been repaired yet? I mean, I would imagine that there are some that will never get repaired again.
Both of those statements are true. There are roads that they have literally stopped. Well, they're not going to rebuild those roads. They're going to try and cut new roads in different places. And the other thing is, yes, we have many, many roads that are still under construction. I was on like 4 or 5 of them today. That, I mean, it's just a mess. And
yeah, so
and
the idea behind this piece was to suggest that there was all of this tourism and disaster shenanigans going on that on the ground you did not. I mean, obviously, yeah, there are going to be one-offs, but I remember talking to you about this in real time, Steve, and you obviously were going to suggest that people stay away if they're not there to help, but the vast majority of people that came into that community wanted to help. I know that.
Yes, and a lot of those people did document what they did, but we did that. You know, I documented what we did in our community.
Yeah.
Because it was an iconic moment in all of our lives that we will probably never experience again, ever. And it was such a both a devastating event, but also a bonding event for all of us.
Well, I mean, you know, all I can tell you is that you know what you're getting when you get 60 Minutes, and it's simply it is a shaded version of the truth, if truth at all. Sadly, everything is positioned through a political lens with these folks, and we know the real deal. We know what really happened, and in large part, we know what really happened because of folks like you, Steve. So I'm glad that you drew our attention to it, and if anyone watched the episode, just understand that it was not the real deal, because I know who knows the real deal, and it was a guy on the ground every day helping people every day, and his name's Steve Antle.
Well, I appreciate it. I just felt like I needed to speak out about it.
I'm glad you did.
You remember in Office Space, Tom Smirkowski, where he got hit by the car, and he had to wear that big brace on his head?
Yeah. Jump to conclusions.
Yeah. I think that's what Chris Hand is having to use this week to hold that head up, that big head that he's got.
Heavy is the head, my friend. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. There is no question about that. No, it's well spoken, and we don't really know what's going on there, Steve. Some on this, it is in danger of breaking this radio show apart because of some of the wild accusations that are floating from the control room this week against me and, by extension, Weaver.
It was a Murphy Hand inside job.
I like how you said that. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. One of the marks of a good parent, they warn their kids about danger, who to trust and what to avoid, and how to make smarter choices in life. Hello, friends. My name is Matt Murphy, and I'm going to play the role of parent when I tell you, make the smart choice. If you have a European vehicle, the only place that you should go is Eurofix. They simply treat their customers like family. They're going to tell you the full story. They're not going to oversell you. They're not going to cut corners. They will do the right work the first time, and you know this, because you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection, a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all the work that they perform, with rental cars available at every appointment. Stay on the road. Stay off the tow truck. Do not get ghosted by the dealer shops. It's Eurofix. They're family-owned and locally operated for over a quarter of a century. 5 separate locations to serve you. Call Eurofix today at 844-EUROFIX, 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 or online at myEurofix.com.
Tracking the potential for severe weather overnight tonight and again tomorrow. We are at the lowest level 1 out of 5 for the risk, but we'll be watching it for you. Got some scattered showers out there right now. Some of it is heavy. Full forecast, another traffic update in 5 minutes. It is primary election day in Tennessee for races including county mayor, judges, and commissioners. Day 1 of the special legislative session is in the books. Republicans want to review congressional maps, see if they can get a 9th majority. Memphis, which has drawn protests. Listen as House Majority Leader William Lamberth deals with some in the gallery After Lambeth, you'll hear Memphis Democrat State Rep Justin Jones, who agrees with the protesters.
You may hold up any signs you want. You may hold up your phones. You can do anything you want to, as long as it is quietly. You may flip me a bird, ma'am. I saw that. Yes, ma'am. You may do that. I don't care. Okay?
Representative Lambert said this is, reprimanding the audience, this is not a sports game, but they're treating this like a game where black people's political power is expendable. He's told the audience, please be respectful to him, yet he's not respecting the black Tennesseans who live in this state.
Now, Democrats, they want to try to reunify Davidson County into one district. The special session to run at least 2 more days. Here in Nashville, Mayor Freddie O'Connell announced he's going to run for re-election and focus on affordability in a second term. Operation Epic Fury, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says Project Freedom to ensure safe passage of commercial ships not doing business with Iran through the Strait of Hormuz is underway as oil and gas prices soar.
CENTCOM, along with partner nations, is in active communication with hundreds of ships, shipping companies, and insurers. All of these ships from all around the world want to get out of the Iranian trap that they have been stuck inside.
Gas Buddy putting the average price per gallon in Middle Tennessee today at $3.21. That's up 24 cents, or rather $4.21, I should say. That is up 24 cents since last week. And that's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Crashes 40 westbound before White Bridge Pike, Briley Parkway West. Pegram 40 westbound near Davidson Cheatham County line. Hermitage Old Hickory Boulevard just north of 40. Mount Juliet Highway Patrol says there's an object in the road. 40 eastbound right there at Mount Juliet Road, exit 226. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. My name is Matt Murphy, and I'm here to talk to you for a moment about your health, specifically to you fellas out there, men's health, because, our health considerations are different than the ladies. Now, if you're a lady and you have a man in your life and you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, or drive, if perhaps you've noticed that he can't perform as he once did, or perhaps, fellas, if you've noticed that motivation, that drive just isn't there anymore, I want to help you with a solution. Tennessee Men's Clinic. Tennessee Men's Clinic can assist you fellas by giving you a consultation for less than $100, $99. The consultation is there. You go in and they'll talk with you about what's going on in your world. They'll get some blood work from you. They'll figure out what's happening. Is it low testosterone? What is it? They're going to find out. And at their location, they can offer you same-day service in terms of if it is in your best interest, they can offer you solutions to the issue the same office visit. That's what it's all about, friends. Not keeping you waiting, not having to go home and then wait for a telephone call to find out what the blood work told them. They'll find out right there in the office that day. Whether it's in Clarksville, Murfreesboro, Cool Springs, or right in Nashville, Tennessee Men's Clinic has a location near you. Call them at 615-208-9090, 208-9090 at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. William wants to talk about turtles. Wednesday wants to talk about turtles. I don't mind talking about turtles. I also have a lovely minute and 40 seconds with Steve Cohen, who is the current congressional representative over in District Number 9. Racist? I don't know. I mean, I assume, based on the standards that I'm being told, based on the language being used by the political left, people like Justin Pearson and Justin Jones and others, you know, I don't know where Karen Camper is on it. I don't know where, but based on their language, the idea that a white person can adequately represent the 9th Congressional District, which is a majority black district, is absurd. And anyone that would suggest that they are that person is a racist in and of themselves. And so I would only assume that Steve Cohen is racist based on their language, not mine. I mean, I don't know the guy. But Steve, that, you know, I can't believe that Cohen is attempting to run against yet another black candidate in a majority black district. How dare he? How dare he? Oh, the rules are different for Democrats? Is that what you're telling me? Huh. Interesting that. It is 5:39, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll get into the world of turtles coming up in a moment. But first, y'all know what time it is, right? You know what the news is.
Yes, sir.
You've heard Ken Weaver talking about the news throughout the course of the afternoon. I've opined on said same.
Yes, sir.
It's now time to find those nincompoops.
Nincompoops in the news.
It is an opportunity for you and I to look all across this great state of Tennessee. I mean, there's a lot of nincompoops who are at the Capitol today. We could just start and end right there. But we're not gonna end there. We're gonna look all across the state of Tennessee through these United States of America.
Nay, the globe.
The globe, Ken Weaver. And I've got a global nincompoop today.
Do you really?
I looked all over the world to find my nincompoop. I don't know where you fellas settled on, but I went over to a foreign nation. How about this? How about I won yesterday, and Jackson, I did the count. It is official.
No, sir.
What do you mean, no, sir?
I believe this is another Hand Murphy inside job. Even those two words separated.
By the way, kid, I like, he wants to say it so bad, but he doesn't quite have it. He doesn't quite have the cojones.
You can't say that with gravitas.
The C.H. Jones, as Phil Valentine used to say. No, you cannot say that with
C.H. Jones. I remember.
Isn't that what Valentine called him?
Yes.
He doesn't have the C.H. Jones. That's good. But yes, Jackson, but I'll tell you what, in the spirit of camaraderie and friendship, I will allow you to go first. I shall go second. Ken Weaver will go last. Oh, well, no, that best for last, Ken. Best for last.
You boys might have one of my stories.
Well, mine's in Sweden.
Okay.
All right. Jackson.
Man uses his penis to pull a police car down the street to raise awareness for prostate cancer.
You're willing to say that, but you won't say the other thing?
That's not real.
This is real. This is from the New York Post, Ken Weaver.
Son of a biscuit.
Read that one more time, Jackson.
Man uses his penis to pull a police car down the street to raise awareness for prostate cancer.
Dadgummit.
Okay. You want to fill us in with some of the details, Jackson, or?
No, I'm ready if you're ready.
Let's go.
A wacky strong man believes he has become the first person in the world to pull a car with his genitalia while on fire, and he insists the fantastical phallic stunt was a bid to raise awareness for prostate cancer.
While on fire?
Yes.
Goodness.
There's a picture. Look at this, Ken.
Yeah, he's on fire.
Yeah.
Wow. My goodness.
John Stevenson. You ready?
What's on fire?
All of them.
He is.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Including his...
What in the world?
His twigs on fire?
I'm assuming.
I mean...
Hey, he's wearing a big old
hoodie.
Got a big old fire suit on.
Can we just get through this as quickly as possible? Thank you.
John Stevenson, 50 years old, hauled a 2-ton French police car 131 feet along a residential street using his manhood after being set ablaze. He completed the bizarre challenge in Halifax, West Yorkshire, England on Thursday, April 30th, as baffled residents watched on. Using a tow rope attached to his manhood, Stevenson was able to pull the Renault something RS along the road, and despite admitting it hurt quite a bit, the dad of 3 said everything was still intact. The martial arts expert and former bare knuckles fighter has previously hit the headlines for pulling a car using his manhood and pulling a car while his head was on fire. So he decided to combine the two to raise awareness for men's health issues and believes he is the only person in the world to have achieved such a feat.
Wait, he used his feet? I thought you said he used another part.
No, he believes he is the first person
feet. Oh, I get it. F-E-A-T.
He was interviewed after the stunt.
Was he now?
He's going to be a Southern gentleman for my retelling of these events.
Okay.
I've pulled a car with my twig and berries before, and I've pulled a car on fire, so I thought, why not combine the two? I won't lie. It did
This is not real.
This is 100% real.
I got to look this up.
I won't lie. It did hurt quite a bit, but my mind was focused on being on fire, and I just plowed on and pulled it for around 40 meters. I'm not done. I'm not done.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I doused myself in lighter fuel, and the wind was against me a bit, so it took a couple of attempts. I've got a few marks down there, but everything is still intact, so hopefully no harm, no foul.
And he was raising money for charity?
Yes.
Does it say how much money he raised?
Does not.
Doesn't. So, but I would assume it's a considerable amount.
I don't know.
Well, Jackson, he was pulling a 2-ton vehicle with his junk. I'm thinking he's.
I don't think like there was a specific donation thing. I think it's just to bring awareness.
Oh well, okay. Well,
and I'm aware now.
Who's the nincompoop? Who's the nincompoop?
I think if there's no money involved, he's an nincompoop.
But he's bringing awareness to a worthy cause, and you're calling him a nincompoop?
It's a very worthy cause, but there's other ways. I mean, there's other fundraising ways.
All right, fair enough. Okay, now, I have said it incorrectly 40 times. It's C.O. Jones. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. It was C.O. Jones. I said it wrong. I apologize. I'm very sorry. I sincerely apologize. People are, actually getting angry at me on the line for saying it wrong. I apologize. No harm, no foul. C.O. Jones. I say, Quejones. I don't say C.O. Jones. I say, Quejones or Stones. But Uncle Phil said C.O. Jones, not C.H. Jones. And my distinct apologies. All right, here's my story. Atlantic salmon in Sweden are getting high off cocaine. And they're getting the drug from an unlikely source. Science. Sounds a bit absurd to test how cocaine affects fish behavior, said Eric McCollum, a Canadian researcher and associate professor of aquatic ecology at the Swedish University of Agricultural Science. But with cocaine and other substances detected in waterways across the globe, including in Canada, McCallum and other researchers at the university want to understand what cocaine's impact would be on fish. The report, published in Current Biology magazine last month, I'm certain that we're all subscribers. Jackson, have you gotten your current copy of Current Biology on hand?
No, Hans stole that too.
Oh, did he? Well, this would probably be a great article in there to read. They found that when juvenile Atlantic salmon in Sweden's Lake Vättern ingested cocaine, they swam farther than their sober counterparts and faster. Now, see, here's the nincompoopery. They needed money and time to engage in this research. Who doesn't know? Every creature on God's green earth, if you give them cocaine, anything they do, they're going to do it faster and farther. Anything they do.
Are you saying advancements in science are nincompoops?
No, I'm saying the people that gave cocaine to salmon are nincompoops, is what I'm saying. Researchers had to get the juvenile salmon high. In order to do this, they slow-released chemical implants which exposed the salmon to either cocaine or other metabolic drugs that ended up in human waste along with any cocaine the body did not use. They then tracked those salmon over 8 weeks. What they found was that the fish exposed swam almost twice as fast per week and dispersed just over 12 kilometers further across the lake. They went further, they went faster, they went farther. You know why? Because they were hopped up on cocaine.
Well, Matt, it's all in the name of science, and I don't believe these fine scientists, except that Canadian, because, I'm still angry at hand, but it's in the name of science.
By the way, the plan is, and I'm not making this up, the plan is in future studies to introduce cocaine into the appetite of sharks. There might be a movie in the works, boys.
Have you seen Cocaine Bear?
I've not.
Ooh.
I've not.
I haven't either.
You boys need to watch that.
I heard it takes place in the Great Smokies.
Yeah, it's.
I would have to get my Great Smoky on in order to watch this movie, I think. If you know what I mean.
Not in Tennessee.
A little goomy.
Little goomy.
Little goomy action. All right, that's my cocaine salmon. That's my. I mean, it's no penis pull, but it's something. Ken Weaver, you're a nincompoop. Uh-oh.
All right.
Choked Weaver up there.
Man arrested after breaking into home twice in one night in Madisonville, Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
Madisonville Police Department officials say a man's in jail after drunkenly breaking into a home overnight Saturday. According to the report, officers were dispatched just before 3 o'clock to the 600 block of Kentucky Avenue for a man later identified as Frank Mayers, who forced his way into a home. Officials say when they arrived on scene, they found Frank inside the home, sitting on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
They say they could smell alcohol coming from his breath when speaking with him, so they were immediately suspicious that he might have been under the influence.
Yeah.
When police spoke to the woman who lived in the house, she told them Frank had been at the home earlier that evening. She says a child inside the home found him sitting on the couch. She told officers she got the children out of the home safely, then asked him to leave, and he did. Officers say prior to their arrival, Frank had forced his way back into the home and sat back on the couch. When police searched him, they found a dollar bill with marijuana in it. Frank was arrested and booked into the Hopkins County Detention Center facing numerous charges.
As they should. Poor fella.
Smelled alcohol on him.
Well, I mean, he had a few.
He should have just stuck to smoking the marijuana.
Yeah, he had a couple of pops. You know what? That's what they tell me. I wouldn't know anything about this because we don't drink or smoke on this show.
Not on the show.
No, but I'm told that beer before liquor, never sicker.
Yeah.
Liquor before beer, all is clear.
Yes, sir.
Beer before pot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Pot before beer. The end is near. I don't know. I don't know. But you got to be careful about the order, y'all.
Boy, you do.
That's a public service announcement from Ken Weaver, Matt Murphy, and you. That's how we play Nincompoops in the News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You are invited to participate by voting. You can do so on the YouTube chat. There's a vote that goes on there. You can also send in your votes. Don't just don't vote for Jackson. Jackson is besmirching the integrity of Nincompoops in the News, and I don't think we need to reward that. I would encourage you to vote for Ken Weaver.
Yes,
now
sir.
Now I'm damaging the integrity of Nincompoops in the News by begging you to vote for somebody else.
Yes,
You
sir.
took my trumpet guy.
Hand took your trumpet guy.
It was a Murphy Hand inside job.
That's what I'm told by you. We'll find out on Friday. I just want to know where one is the trumpet guy in his trunk. I just want to know where the trophy is.
I want to know where the trumpet guy is.
Well, that's true.
Well, here's the deal. Is Hand ever going to give us that trophy back?
Yes, he will, Weaver. We might have to go to show war against Hand. More on that coming up in a moment. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. You know pain is bad. It's why the Wellness Institute of Nashville exists. It's why their website is called painisbad.com, and they have my seal of approval. They have an epic spinal special that's going on right now, $33 off every single visit. All you have to do is tell them that I sent you to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. No surgery, no injections, no painkillers, just brand new modern techniques to alleviate the pain. Let's talk about one of the ways they're doing that. It's called Medical Bay One. You know, Dr. Mitchell just sent me a video of the incredible Medical Bay One, a futuristic healing machine that massages your body while doing full body lasers, red light therapy, non-invasive, near infrared. It also adds stem cell stimulation for tissue regeneration and uses photons of wavelength for ultimate healing. The Medical Bay experience is truly futuristic. You essentially sit in a medical bay similar to something that you'd see in a science fiction film on television. Friends, all you need to do is go by and ask about this, ask about the HydroWave technology, ask about spinal decompression, or call, make an appointment today. 615-246-5009, 246-5009, or painisbad.com for the Wellness Institute of Nashville.
Day one of the special session to review congressional maps is in the books. We'll let you hear some of the protesters it has drawn to the state capitol. That's coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Indeed. Looking forward to that. That's at 6 o'clock. Right now, a lot of reaction to nincompoops in the news. on Super Talk 99.7.
Especially after Brother
WTN.
Jackson's story.
Well, 8901. I'm voting Matt because I don't believe Jackson. 0013. I don't think Jackson's was real, so I vote Matt.
Y'all can look it up. New York Post.
Well, don't get mad at him, Jackson. I mean, we don't control these things. Here's the problem. When you attack the integrity of Nincompoops in the News, then you attack the integrity of the entire experience. And
This is not what Nincompoops looks like.
This is not what Nincompoops looks like.
This is not what Nincompoops looks like.
You got Weaver over there.
We know what you did.
What did I do? What did I do? What are you talking about what I did? I was encouraging you and Weaver to win that. I said, y'all keep the trophy down home, cuz.
You caused the water main break.
And then before I know it, I'm looking online and there's a hand and his kids are like dumping champagne or some sort of alcoholic beverage in the darn thing.
Nah, it's cereal.
Oh, cereal. Same thing. And then he's got the trophy. He's running around all of Murfreesboro. The fact that I will be in Murfreesboro on Friday and the fact that I am set to win 2 days in a row on Nincompoops in the News is no reflection on any form of collusion. And how dare you suggest that happened?
How dare you?
How dare you?
Ken, we need to walk out and protest.
It's too close to going home time.
3686. I'm voting for Jackson today. Who doesn't love a great penis pull story at supper time?
Oh.
I don't. Just answer the question. Hey, several votes for Weaver, too. Y'all vote vote for old Ken Weaver. He needs it.
I do. I got to get back that trophy.
Well, cocaine salmon, y'all. That's how we get it done. One more hour to go. We will return to the real news. Steve Cohen was in town today. Very upset. We'll share with you what he had to say. Plus, William Lambert, this Ken's been telling you.
Oh, man.
He doesn't seem to mind people flipping him off. Just do it quietly, please. Thank you. It's 6 o'clock on Super Talk.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. And day one of the special session to review congressional maps is in the books. Republicans want to turn the 9th District, Memphis, red, and it has drawn protesters to the state capitol.
This is a very firm line in the sand. This is not about a policy that's, we want a Republican over a Democrat or a Democrat over a Republican. This is a policy that will directly disenfranchise black voters.
That's Memphis State Senator Ramesh Akbari. And not so, says Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson, who was on WTN's Matt Murphy show.
That's fine for people to perhaps feel that way, but I can honestly say that my sincere interest in this, and I think the governor's, I don't speak for the governor, but I know him well, and the members of the General Assembly, is to take a look at these districts and make sure that we're representing the values of this state.
The special session expected to last at least 2 more days. Mayor Freddie O'Connell says he's going to run for re-election. He promises to focus more on affordability in a second term. Operation Epic Fury. Secretary of State Marco Rubio today standing in for White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt as she begins her maternity leave, saying that the 2 U.S.-flagged merchant vessels successfully transited the Strait of Hormuz as part of Operation Freedom. Rubio saying multiple countries had asked the U.S. to help with Project Freedom. Here's Rubio today referring to Iran.
It cannot be that you have these straits and they blow up any ship that moves, and the only ships that get to go through are theirs. You can't have a situation in which the straits are closed to everyone else, but they benefit from the piracy. That can't happen. That's why the blockade is in place, and that's why these sanctions are crippling them.
U.S. says it sank 6 Iranian speedboats as it began escorting ships through the strait. President Trump telling reporters today he thought the price of oil would be higher than it is right now.
I looked today, it's like at 102, and that's a very small price to pay for getting rid of a nuclear weapon from people that are really mentally deranged.
Right now in Middle Tennessee, Gas Buddy putting the average price per gallon at $4.21, up 1 cent since this morning, up 24 cents since last week. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Crashes, Belmont area, 440 eastbound past Hillsborough Pike. Hermitage, Old Hickory Boulevard, just north of I-40. Antioch, 24 westbound past Harding Place. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy, and this is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, primarily discussing the beginning of the special session in Nashville, Tennessee today, as Tennessee General Assembly members reconvene at the call of the governor of the state of Tennessee, Bill Lee, to consider redrawing district lines consistent with the Supreme Court decision from last week and consistent with what Jack Johnson earlier today on our radio show called the values of this state. 615-737-9986. If you'd like to be a part of the show, we'd certainly invite you to do so. 615-737-9986. Any thoughts on that matter or any other matters on the docket today? Far-left Democrat congressional candidate Justin Pearson is none too happy, very frustrated with the congressional efforts to redraw the congressional map. Supreme Court ruled Louisiana versus Calais. That's the way I'm going to go with it or Calais. Maybe.
Calais.
Calais. No, yeah, that makes sense. Calais. Louisiana, Calais. The Voting Rights Act does not mandate states to create extra minority congressional districts. The court's decision spurred Governor Bill Lee to call a special session, and we're doing so right now. The expectation is the redrawing of the lines will create a dynamic by which it will reopen. One of the things that Senator Jack Johnson mentioned, and for those interested in running for public office, here's a great opportunity. If you want to run against Andy Ogles or Scott Desjardins or Tim Burchett or Matt Van Epps or, hell, Steve Cohen himself, Kustoff, Harshbarger, Fleischman, now's your chance. They're reopening the opportunity to qualify to run for Congress. I wonder if anyone will actually do so. You know, it wouldn't surprise me, and I'm just throwing it out there where the goats can graze on it, would not surprise me if we had additional candidates enter the race in the Republican Party primary against Andy Ogles. The reason I mention this is because Andy has demonstrated himself to be vulnerable against a primary challenge, considering that he only had – look, I'm not suggesting Andy could not dispatch of all comers within the primary session. He's got Charlie Hatcher running against him, and the guy only has, what, I saw $50,000 in the bank. Not a lot of money to mount a congressional campaign in a political primary, especially if you have a number of individuals with deep pockets willing to spend some of that money to get their message out and to get their name ID up in a compressed time frame. In the meantime, Will is in Mount Juliet, and Will is next on the radio program. Hello, Will.
Hey, God bless you guys. Y'all appreciate y'all letting me on today.
Of course.
This special session brings about the great justice of the American spirit and being able to vote what your heart tells you to do. And I have a little bit of beef. I wrote something that I wanted to read, but a little bit of beef with the fact that when I hear you guys talk, I agree with 98% of it, especially being libertarian minded with your radio show host. But, you know, to start off, to have to say, I would like to refer to my First Amendment and Fifth Amendment, not to be treated as a criminal for what I'm about to say. I'm a lifelong conservative. I'm a two-time cancer survivor, and I'm a father of a U.S. veteran of multi-generations serving for this great country. I do not understand how we can start calling off people as rhinos and not nogging off the people that happen to use the green stuff just because they don't see it the same way as our dear President Trump, who is the leader of the land. So how is it we're going to still stand behind these constituents who are against people like myself that have had cancer and are trying to just fight to live and survive and deal with chronic pain for the rest of my life, whatever, how many days I got, in spite of what the president says? I'm under scrutiny. I'm living like these poor guys that you guys are in agreement, and I'm in agreement. We got to close our borders to only the people that should be here. But here I am living under a blanket, trying to not get arrested in my own house. You know, this is crazy. We don't refer to the WhiteHouse.gov website when you guys talk about rhinos and the cannabis information. You don't refer to normal.org or FDA.gov. I can't even get family to look at these sites because they have got it inbred in their system that Marsha is right.
Will
did the right things. I just don't understand that.
Will, you don't hear me referring to rhinos.
Okay. I've heard it throughout the program, but maybe not on your program, but through.
Right. I mean, obviously I don't listen I love my fellow hosts. I love Dan Mandis, love Chris Hand, love Chad Benson. I don't listen throughout the course of the day. I can only, kind of speak for what happens between 3 and 7. And I don't talk about rhinos because I think rhino has become something of a bludgeon used in political commentary. And I just don't go there. I'm not a Republican. And so I don't offer commentary about how Republicans are supposed to act and not supposed to act. I'm a libertarian with a small L, meaning that I don't belong to the Libertarian Party either. However, I believe in the basic libertarian philosophy of governance, that government serves best when it serves only when absolutely necessary and often least, and leaves me to my own responsibilities and my own liberties in a country that believes in both. That said, I don't have a problem with the legalization of weed and never have. I don't have a problem, certainly, with the consideration. While I understand those that do from a recreational standpoint, I can understand their argument. I do not understand the argument against allowing marijuana to be used as a medical necessity and a medical program or medical prescription. So I'm right there with you, Will.
Well, God bless you. We
Yes,
need
sir.
more people us willing to speak up and have the confidence to say it. And I appreciate it.
And mine is not, and I want to make clear for those in the back. Thank you, Will, for the call. I want to make clear for those in Aniana. This is not necessarily a pro-weed conversation. For me, it's a pro-liberty conversation, especially when it comes to the recreational side of things. Marsha Blackburn, I believe, is missing a great opportunity to modernize the vision of the Republican Party in the state of Tennessee when it comes to medical marijuana. Sadly, she's simply against it. I believe that this could ultimately hurt her at the polls. Will it hurt her in a fashion that would prevent her from becoming the next governor of the state? No. But I think she hurts people. I think people are hurt because of a lack of openness regarding medical marijuana in this state. And the reason I believe that is because I talked to too many of them. Will, perhaps, is one of them. I speak to way too many people that have seen the medical efficacy of the drug, whether it's CBD or THC, compounded within marijuana. And it doesn't mean that you get to smoke it. It doesn't mean that it should be recreationally legal in the state. But to shut down any consideration for medical marijuana in this state is not only short-sighted, but I think it's 30-year-old Republican talking points that need to be updated. And it merits more than just a no. It merits justifying your position. And I look forward to an opportunity to speaking to Marsha Blackburn as a candidate for governor and asking her, and for those that don't know, last time she was on, I guess, Hand's show, Chris asked her about medical marijuana and whether or not she supported it, and she said no. And he said, and he followed up with it was a great question. He said, well, so if this somehow got to your desk and you're governor, you're vetoing this. Now, thankfully, in the state of Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn can veto anything that comes to her desks a desk all she wants and twice on Sunday, and it doesn't matter because the same simple majority in the state of Tennessee that brought it to her desk can override her veto. It does not take a supermajority in the state to override vetoes. So if the General Assembly saw fit to take it to her, they can also see fit to, quote, override her and make a political statement with regard to where they are on medical marijuana. Whether they would do that or not remains to be seen. The point is, she stated plainly that even if the vast majority of the people of Tennessee spoke loudly and clearly on this subject, that she would still remain against it. And I'm just curious for her to explain that. Explain to me why you are so dug in on the issue of medical marijuana. Now, if it's because you believe that it's a camel's nose under the tent scenario, I'm willing to listen to that too. But isn't it your job as governor? Wouldn't it be the job of the General Assembly to make sure that that doesn't happen? We do that all the time. We're already drawing a line in the sand. We allow people to drink large amounts of alcohol and get wildly drunk on the regular in the state. Obviously, you can't do certain things when you do so, but perfectly permissible to do so. We know that that's not good for the health of the community. We know that it's not good for families, yet they allow it to happen one way or the other. So if that's your standard, I don't quite understand why you're splitting these hairs in the way that you are. So, Will, I appreciate the telephone call and I appreciate the commentary, and we will certainly continue that conversation as spring becomes summer and as we get closer to the Republican Party primary that's happening in August. In the meantime, that primary map might look decidedly different by then than it does right now. Steve Cohen had a few things to say, a little audio video here, Jackson, as Representative Steve Cohen. How old is Cohen? He's got to be in his late 70s. One way or the other, he was speaking. Now, interestingly enough, his campaign primary opponent was there with him, Justin Pearson, who is attempting to dispatch Cohen in the Democrat primary. Justin Pearson, young black male. Steve Cohen, old white dude. Yet Steve Cohen right there in front of Justin Pearson, God and everybody's calling all of this racist, when I would suggest that it's racist for him to run against black people in the Democrat primary if the Democrats live by the standard that a majority black district should always be governed by a black person, which is seemingly their argument, unless I'm misunderstanding it. Here's Steve Cohen.
You're changing the House of Representatives from the People's House to the Republican Party MAGA's house to the governor's house. And that's not the way government's supposed to be. I'll tell you some stories. When I was a senator, it was from 1982 to 2006, there were more people up here in the Senate and the House that said Memphis should be part of Mississippi. They constantly said it. If it weren't for John Wilder and Jimmy Navy and Ed McWhirter, who had power then, Memphis would have suffered more. Right now, Memphis does not have a friend in the higher spaces of government.
By the way, this guy is full of it. The best friend that Memphis has right now is Donald Trump. The best friend that Memphis has right now is Senator Brent Taylor. The best friend that Memphis could possibly ask for is Governor Bill Lee, because those three individuals were the primary focused reason why we saw the task force go into Memphis and clean up so much of the crime that has plagued that city for so many decades. Finally, we're seeing people offered a little bit of relief, black people and white people alike, brown people too. They're being offered relief from the burdensome criminal activity that has been going on in his district for so many years. And oh, by the way, this representative, Steve Cohen, was against all of that. Representative Steve Cohen was against the Donald Trump task force. He was against the crackdown on crime. He was against cracking down on the criminal elements, the gangbangers and the human traffickers and the drug pushers. He was against they have found hundreds of children unaccompanied by their parents in Memphis. They found them. They've uncovered any number of automobile theft rings, any number of murderers and sex traffickers in that community. And off the streets. Isn't that a good thing? Interesting how you don't hear Justin Pearson or Steve Cohen today condemning the criminal task force that has cleaned up that city in a short few months. Why is that? They were against it, steadfastly against it when it happened. So don't tell me that they don't have representation. They most certainly do. Senator Brent Taylor is a great representative of that greater region. Governor Bill Lee is helping those folks out, and Donald Trump is as well. But Cohen continues.
Two great state senators, and Justin Jones, who's a great state representative. He's the real deal.
And Justin Pearson.
Cool. And
a little Democrat on Democrat violence there. He mentions Justin Jones and how wonderful of a state representative he is. Doesn't mention his political opponent, and he's being shouted down as a result.
Justin does a great job.
Justin does.
The fact is, Kent Memphis has been eliminated by this Jim Crow bill. It's not just, it's a Jim Crow Supreme Court opinion, but the legislature, Governor Miss Blackburn and Governor Lee have jumped on it.
By the way, a lot of people were screaming about Marsha Blackburn because Marsha Blackburn offered a favorable report on this redistricting. But Marsha Blackburn doesn't have anything to do with this. I just found it fascinating, the number of people that were screaming about Marsha at the steps of the state capitol today, when she truly has no say in this right now. I mean, she's a United States senator. I suppose she has her opinion on it, and as a governor's candidate might have an opinion on it, but she doesn't have any say in it. That would be the General Assembly and ultimately Governor Lee.
To effectuate their promises, to make this all Donald Trump country. It's about Donald Trump and his agenda. And it's about saving him from oversight in the Congress as Democrat. But as the lady who let us off here said, and she's right, it's about an agenda that's about the wealthy. It's about the wealthiest of all, and it's about corruption at the highest level. And that's what they want to do.
You know, Steve Cohen, regardless of what happens in Congressional District Number 9, it's just embarrassing that the Democrats keep presenting this man as the alternative. I'm going to revise my statement. Based on looking at him, and for those watching on Talk TV, that's 80 years old if I've ever seen it. And not a very healthy 80. He's eating too much fried chicken. 22 after the hour. I mean, he did. He brought a bucket of fried chicken in a congressional hearing with him. 22 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here. It's that time of year, right, where it gets a little cool in the evenings, a little warm in the afternoons. And so what are you doing with that AC? What are you doing with that heat? You're probably doing a lot with it at your house. And if it's not working as efficiently, I use that word on purpose, as it should, then there's Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. Allow Jeff Eddy and his team to assist in all of your heating and air conditioning needs. Obviously, the AC is going to get strained over the course of late spring into summer. By the time summer rolls around, you'll have those 80 and 90 degree conditions and maybe even approaching 100. You need a unit that's going to work for you and your family. And if you don't have it, call Jeff Eddy. Allow him to come out and make the decision and help you, assist you in the decision-making process as to whether or not you need to replace that unit or perhaps there is a repairable element to it. And if repair is an option, they're always going to choose that. They don't automatically go to replacement because, you know, some companies do. They make more money that way. They don't believe in it. Efficient Heating and Cooling wants a long customer relationship with you, and they're going to do right by you and your family. Give them a call when it's time. They're an elite pro partner with Rheem. They can help you out in that regard. They offer financing on your next unit as well, if so desired. EfficientHVAC.net, EfficientHVAC.net, or call 615-784-4424, 784-4424 for Efficient. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 6485 says, I got me some of that cheap gas this morning, that Trump gas, a mere $4.29 a gallon. What a proud day to be an American. And then 6485 continues by saying, no witty replies, not even from the show Flunky. And I apologized. I was busy doing a show, and it kind of degraded from there. But, I do like this comment. I said, I was busy doing a show. Call me up with the jokes. They're gold. To which 6485 responded, I'm sure doing the show is quite a handful for somebody with obvious limited abilities. Unfortunately, my hearing aids don't allow me to listen. Maybe, fortunately, or make frivolous telephone calls. Maybe you'll experience it one day. I assure you that I already have hearing issues. And I also assure you that while I do not utilize hearing aid devices at this stage in my life, at some point it will be a reality for me. So absolutely. And no need to apologize, 6485. He later on said he was sorry for the personal attack. I don't consider it a personal attack. I understand the frustration. I am equally frustrated with the amount of money that it is costing us at the gasoline pump, and I'm fearful. One of the reasons that I am fearful that none of this will come to fruition, look, I'm here for it. It is not my call to do this. I don't know. I said last week that I don't know if I were the decision maker right now, if I would make the decision to try to reconfigure the 9th Congressional District in such a compressed time frame. I would probably wait until the next General Assembly, the regular session. The reason I say this is because of the wave nature of this election. We are not battling ideology. We're not battling policy. We're battling history. History dictates that whomever is in the White House is going to see their political party lose seats in the next midterm election. It just almost happens that way without exception. I consider myself somewhat of a student of history. I don't pretend to know everything. Maybe a few of you can look this up. When was the last time that during the first congressional midterm election of a presidency that political party gained its seats? I'm certain that it's happened at some point. I just don't recall it happening. Historically, the party that is in the White House loses, and the party that's in the majority in the House of Representatives loses seats. Well, we just so happen to only have a Republican majority that's like 1 or 2. You can't lose very many seats. You just lose a couple and you lose the majority. Why is that so important? Friends, if and when, and I think it's a win, we lose the majority in the House of Representatives. I say that sadly, and I suppose there's time left. But when it happens, the next 2 years will be an absolute wash politically. The Democrats will continue their attack on Donald Trump, their Trump derangement syndrome. They'll go after him. They will impeach him. And hell, some of those impeachments might be successful were it not for the United States Senate and the supermajority that it requires for conviction over there. Because I would expect that the possibility exists that they'll get the Senate too. Now, let's hope not. They being the Democrats, of course. I just don't want to waste 2 years of momentum when the possibility exists that we could get a few good things done for the American people. But Iran is sucking all the air out of the room, and it's creating an economic dynamic by which people are laying blame at Trump. And I voted for Donald Trump 6 times. I'm an escalator guy. But I would be lying to you if I told you otherwise, that the price of a gallon of gas at the pump is ultimately where it is because of the economics that exist surrounding a conflict in the Middle East. And that conflict exists because the United States of America wanted it to. Now, saying it any other way would be a lie. Trump, for his part, earlier today said he expected $250 a barrel oil. That's what he said. He said even $300. and it did not go up that high, and he believes that it will be a temporary spike and it will come back down. And I don't deny that once this conflict is done, that we will be better positioned if we have a more stable Middle East. That's a big if. Obviously, Venezuela is doing its thing, providing more supply on the international stage. But that might be too little too late for this election cycle. '0589, God bless you. He said Johnson, then Reagan. So Reagan was the last. Someone is saying 02. I don't think 02 was 02. That was Bush. No, I don't. I think we lost. Well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe after 9/11. That might be right. 8378 says it's 02. 82 sounds right. '02 gained in the Senate and the House for George W. Bush. Yes, in the that feels right. In the aftermath of September 11th, a strong against international and domestic terrorism policy. That makes a lot of sense. 33 after the hour. Got to run to news. Ken Weaver awaits. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here for Craft Body Scan. Several years ago, Craft Body Scan came into Nashville, Tennessee, and I was telling you about them then, and I'm proud to tell you about them now. When it comes to your health, wouldn't you rather know what's going on inside of your body? Do you know that in 2026, there is technology available for a CT scan like Craft Body Scan offers? You can see what's happening with your lungs, what's happening with your heart before you feel any symptoms whatsoever. Now, I encourage the full body scan, and I want you to ask them about that when you make the call and schedule your couple's heart and lung scan. It's not only wonderful to check out the heart and the lungs to make sure everything's going well, and you bring your loved one with you for $99, by the way, $99. All you need to do is use the promo code MATT50. You're saving $50 off the already incredible price. This is like a $2,500 value, and you're getting it for less than $100. Why? Because Craft Body Scan wants to let you know that they're here. They want to protect your health. They want you to understand that you can get checked out before you feel symptoms of any sort, and we can find out what's going on inside of your body, which is wonderful. It gives you awesome peace of mind. I've done the full body scan, and I encourage you to do it as well. It's fast, it's easy, and it does give you that real peace of mind. TogetherWeScan.com, promo code MATT50. TogetherWeScan.com, promo code MATT50, or 615-436-1000. Tell them I sent you. 615-436-1000 for Craft Body Scan. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up in a moment, we'll give you an update on what we're doing with Matt Murphy Movie Mayhem. Young Jackson Williams had an idea, and dare I say, without giving him the swelled head, that it was actually a pretty good one. We shall update you on said idea coming up in moments. I just need you to make sure that you have the big theme up and running. You got it? You got it ready? I'm doing Mark first. Why are you giving me the thing? No, don't you give me the thumb. Don't you give me the finger. I'm not William Lambert. I'll come up there. You don't get to do that silently. How dare you, sir? How dare you? Just because you've developed this wild conspiracy theory in your head that Hand and I are in cahoots regarding the trophy that I have not possessed for the calendar year 20 and 26. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Although it would be a pretty good plan if we did this, where a Hand scores the trophy, then I get my hands. That's a pretty good, I wish I'd have thought of this. Honestly.
It was a crisscross.
Jackson has been calling this a crisscross, as in a double cross. I like that better than inside Murphy hand job.
Well, we could combine the two.
So it was an inside crisscross Murphy hand job?
No, I would go crisscross hand job.
Mark that, 642. Host gets to say those types of things. Producers do not. You're in trouble. You're in a lot of trouble. Mark is next. Mark wants to talk some serious matters about Iran. Hello, Mark.
Well, I have a question for you. Everybody, Trump's wanting to pin all this on, we got to keep Iran from having a nuclear weapon. Trump is notorious for not listening to his own, what am I trying to say? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. He doesn't want, a lot of the other countries around the world don't believe that Iran was as close as they were, okay? And Israel, I believe, convinced him that they were. And that's why we bombed them last summer. I don't even really have a problem with us bombing them. If we did what he said we did, they weren't going to be a threat. From what he's saying, he keeps going back to the nuclear weapon. But with our intelligence, he's notorious for not wanting to listen. He doesn't like our intelligence, I don't think. He didn't listen to it that much in the first term, and I think he's listening to other people before he listens to his own intelligence people, if that makes any sense.
Who do you believe he's relying on, Mark?
I think he's relying on Bibi Netanyahu. Okay, I think we should defend Israel. Okay, I think Netanyahu, the rest of the world didn't believe what Netanyahu was saying. Otherwise, they would come help us. That's why part of the reason why they're not. And Trump has created a mess that he's wanting to say. He's wanting to kind of pass the buck on who kind of created this mess, and he doesn't really have an exit strategy. And I think I was listening to Tucker Carlson the other day, and I realized Tucker can be out there, but he had an ex-CIA agent on there talking about that his friends that are still in the CIA are telling him we didn't think that they were anywhere near. They were years away from having a deliverable bomb. They didn't have, a bomb that they could deliver. And he had some really good answers, like the missile that we fired, or that they fired on Diego Garcia. He said for them to do that, they would have had to strip down one of their missiles, take all the weight out of it, and just add extra propellant in it to get it to go that far. They're not, so otherwise the missile didn't have a lot of explosive in it when they fired it. It was just to make an example that, hey, we can fire something that far, but they weren't really being serious about it because it couldn't carry any weight.
Well, part of the issue was Donald Trump wanted to believe, whether he was advised last summer that this was the case or whether he exaggerated the results of the strike on their nuclear facilities. He said at the time that the facilities had been obliterated, right? So,
yeah.
And he used that terminology. Well, obviously, that wasn't the case then, or they did not have the ability to completely rebuild and But as of I just looked this up, that as of 2026, as of right before we engaged in this conflict, Iran was estimated to possess approximately 970 pounds of uranium that was enriched to 60% purity.
Okay.
And so there's a reason why they were enriching that uranium, and the reason would be that they're attempting to get it to the point where they can use it for a nuclear weapon. There's no other reason for them to do it. There's no other reason for them to invest in this way.
I'll give you another reason it could be used as a deterrent to make people think that they've got it. Okay, whether they do or don't, just the deterrent, that if people believe that they have it and that they could use it, that's a deterrent, correct?
A deterrent to what? What's currently going on?
Or us, anybody messing with them, anybody attacking Iran, because they, if everybody thinks that Iran's got a bomb, then they're going to leave. That's it's called the nuclear deterrent.
Well, but Mark, I don't think anyone believes that Iran has a bomb. What those that argued in favor of eliminating this threat would argue, and I'm not necessarily in that position. I'm just telling you what they say is that 60% in enrichment is a short way away from weapons grade 90%. And if they get to weapons grade 90%, then that would give them 970 pounds is the equivalent of about 10 nuclear warheads.
Okay, but they also have to have a delivery system.
Well,
And
they bombed.
what
They sent a missile 2,500 miles during this conflict.
Okay, and I just explained to you how they did that.
Right.
Okay. The one ex-CIA agent, he gave a logical explanation how they were able to do that.
Well, I mean, if you want to, you can certainly present an argument why this was not necessary.
Yeah, but I guess my point is
But does it matter? But does us? Let me ask you this, though, Mark. At this point, and by the way, I don't believe anything that Tucker has to say about it because Tucker has been infected by his hatred of Israel, and sadly, Tucker, someone that I once had incredible respect for, has completely lost his mind. But other than that, what does at this point it matter debating whether or not we should have done this? We've done it. And Donald Trump is the commander-in-chief, and he has the ability to do it.
No, I understand he has the ability to do it, but there's consequences for his actions. And like the midterms, if he pays a price in the midterms, it's going to be because of the country paying the price of these consequences. That's kind of what I think that I don't know if people told him or if he understood how really, like, I paid $4.49 for gas today in Paducah, Kentucky. Okay. And I'm a courier. I drive for a living. It's costing me an extra $50 a day just to drive. Okay. To do my job. And that's coming out of my pocket. I'm losing $50 a day just by the increased gas prices from what they were 3 months ago. Okay. I don't understand, because what he's done is it's like he wants to say, well, we have all this oil. Well, that's great. We do have all this oil, and we're not going to have shortages here, but the prices are based on world markets. The rest of the world is starving right now for oil. Okay. Europe is starving. That's driving the price through the roof. Okay. It's driving diesel fuel, jet fuel, gasoline is all. That's the inflation effects are going to just get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, I think we. I think we all.
I don't think he's got an end. I don't think he's got an end result. Is what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just don't think he's got an end game for this that doesn't either set the economy back to a recession, or he's already going to set Europe.
My biggest objection to, and look, I've long been sour on this. Anyone listening to me for any length of time knows that I'm sour on this. I'm sour on it only because I don't believe that Donald Trump's objectives were somehow impure. I think he truly believed that he could more easily accomplish the task, and that was ultimately bringing a regime in Iran that was more consistent with the stability of the rest of the Middle East. He has been completely unable to do that, and I don't believe that we will be able to do that. Now we are left with trying to reset the Strait of Hormuz and to secure the enriched uranium that they reportedly have and take that away from them. I'll give you the final word on it.
Well, I guess my point is that I think somebody should have told him, this is the consequences of your actions. This is what it's going to do to world markets. This is what it's going to do to Europe. This is what it's going to do to Japan. This is what it's going to do to our Asian allies. This is, because it's going to, because the only country, it may not, it's going to affect us worse and worse and worse as time goes on. And until we can see some kind of end, for him just to tell us, oh, well, this is just going to be short and it's going to get better. The prices are going to drop. Yeah, but people are paying, they're hurting right now. Okay. And they've been hurting for 2 months. And right now they're telling us it's going to be to the end of the year or next year before we see gas back below $3 if it was to start ending pretty soon. Okay. And I don't see how it's going to end anytime soon because they're dealing with lunatics. They're not dealing, Trump's trying to negotiate with people like a businessman, which is fine, but he's not dealing with a businessman. He's dealing with a religious fanatic that won't listen, if that makes any sense. That doesn't care whether he dies or not. It doesn't care whether he takes his whole country down with him or not. And that's hard. That's difficult to deal with somebody like. He's in with somebody. It puts us in a very bad. We're not in a good position. Let's put it that way. And even though, and I agree, we have the best military. and everything like that. We've had that for as long as I can. I'm 62 years old.
Yeah,
I've
mean,
always noticed it with us military.
I mean, Mark. I mean, I'm not trying to oversimplify this. I'm just very short on time, but it feels to me like the point of your call is to say we shouldn't have done this.
That's a big point. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean that.
I don't think I get that. I appreciate you letting me speak.
I mean, no. I mean, I just. Other than that, I mean, it's a lot of hindsight. We are where we are. We need to get ourselves out of this and focus on the United States of America as best we can down the road. I agree with you, and I share your frustration and understand it. It's 52 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Friends, your health insurance doesn't need to cost you too much. I mean, we were just speaking about the rising prices on a lot of different. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped up kind of a look at the house. And Nate, what'd you find?
Well, your house is in pretty good shape for the age of it. I had to look pretty hard to find.
Okay.
Your house being on a slope like it is here, I think we could do a lot of good by trying to terminate your downspouts a little
Okay.
further from the house there.
Okay.
Roof water is the killer of foundations, and so if we can just get it to a positive grade to drain away from your house, I think that's real cheap insurance.
You want to kind of get it out and downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
the idea.
make sure that it doesn't come right back down towards the foundation walls and causing issues, settlement or leakage.
Now, if folks are watching this video and they are like, we need to get Nate out to the house to do a look. I mean, it took, I watched you do it. It's, what, 30, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
To do a comprehensive kind of an examination around the house. And they just give you a call and schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our main phone number, or you can call or reach USSTN.com and
Sure.
schedule right through the website there. Our girls in the call center will get back to you just about immediately, as long as it's during business hours. So
This just makes a lot of sense, folks, for you guys to do an examination of your house like we've done, to check it out. I'm going to get those gutters done with Nate and his team at USS, and then we'll do a video and let you know how those look at the end of all of this. So thank you, guys.
Hey, that'd be great.
We appreciate you, brother.
Matt,
All
we
right.
appreciate you.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Once again, I'm running very late. All right. Change number 1. We're going to move the Matt Murphy Movie Mayhem segment to 6:35.
Yep.
So it gives us a little more time. Tell everybody about change number 2, Jackson. I'm very excited about this.
Change number 2, me and Matt will be watching the same movie every week. We will present options to the listening audience via the Super Talk TV chat. 3 options. You vote. You pick what movie me and Matt watch over the weekend. We come back for a full-throated review on Monday
at 6:35, and you can watch it with us, so you can kind of participate. So you'll get 3 options on Fridays. We'll narrow those down to a singular option by 6:35 on Friday evening, and then we'll watch over the weekend and we'll present that. It's a reinvigoration of the movie review. Now that said, did you watch Rise of Skywalker or no?
I did.
I did too. I forgot what a whiny baby Kylo Ren really was.
He's an angsty teen.
He is. Dies like twice.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, spoiler alert.
For the movie that came out 7 years ago.
He dies twice. He does help whoop up on the old Palpatine. Isn't that him? Palpatine?
Yeah. He reincarnates himself. And
Snope or whatever that goes.
Very convoluted movie.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't like it. I liked it better the first time I saw it. I didn't like it as much this time.
I saw it in the theater, and I was like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's good. I watched it this time. I was like, yeah, this kind of bleh. Can we get done with this fight? I mean, will you and Ray get together already, Ben? All right, that does it for us. A Wednesday edition coming tomorrow. Until next time, for Jackson, for Ken, and the rest of the crew.